here. It's big. And it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of Live at the Bike, brought to you by the Bicycle Casino in Los Angeles, California, the first and only webcast of real-action cash game poker. My name is Bart Hansen, and I am here, of course, with the Tuckster tonight. Tonight's Limit Hold'em night, Dave.
Yes.
We're going to be doing an 8-16.
Wait a second, we're actually going to do Limit?
Yes, the Limit. By demand,
Rock
Limit
it on.
Hold'em game.
All right.
Now, the last time we did this game, it was pretty exciting. Usually... very multi-way action.
Right.
Each hand.
Very educational.
Yes, well, it is.
Obviously.
A lot of players will play. People that are watching the webcast play at this level.
Yeah.
8-16. It's not really small. It's not huge. It's kind of
But it's definitely a
Middle.
nice, you can easily win or lose $300-400 in a night.
right. So, without further ado, let's get to the action, and we're going to go around and introduce the table.
Let's do that. In seat 1, we've got Ryan Ty. There he is. There's Ryan. Seat number 2 is Eric Miller. There he is, Eric. Seat number 3 is Sun Viet. There's Sun. Seat number 4, we've got Owen.
5 players.
Owen Francis. Don't call me Francis. Francis, there he is. Seat number 5, Sharig Khan. Call him Sharig, wearing the Lakers hat.
Okay.
Seat number 6, we've got Min Tran. There he is. Seat number 7, we've got Greg Kramer. Not Raymer, but Kramer. And he likes to be called Trap.
Okay.
There you go. Seat number 8, we've got Rudy Meza. And there's Rudy. Can't see much else except the white hat.
Yep.
There you go, Rudy. We'll have to duck under there. And seat number 9, we've got David Hakam. And there's
David
Dave.
in seat 9. Of course, if you want to follow a live thread, be interactive on the show, you can go to 2plus2.com, spelled out. Click on the forums key. World Poker Tour and other televised tournaments, the official Live the Bike thread for October 10th. You can also email us at live@thebike.com. Looks like there are already a few posts on the thread here tonight. It looks like Barry Woods is saying that he's going to play on Wednesday night's Whale game.
Super.
So
That's great. It'll be...
look forward to that.
Now, this game tonight is actually a 4-8 game. It's very similar to, obviously, 4-8 Hold'em. 8-16 is the same as 20-40 Hold'em as
Right.
well. They play it with $2 chips.
Yep, and they play the 2-4 structure in the blinds. 2-chip, 4-chip structure. Again, the green chips are $2 chips. The blue chips are $1 chips. A stack of chips is $40. A rack is $200.
Right.
So we're going to get into the first hand of the night here. Looks like seat number 6 there, Min. He, I believe he raised, and we're going to get a cold call by seat 8.
Wow.
Oh,
and-
excuse me. Seat 6 just limped. Seat 8 raised, and then a couple people are going to call. Here we go. We can see the cards up there. So, Rudy, the original raiser in seat 8, raised with the ace rag. He hit top pair, and he's going to bet. And everybody calls.
Yeah, I'm
Gut
not a
shot,
big fan of ace
pair.
rag in a full ring game, but...
And now he's hit trips. But now Min has a gut shot royal flush draw. He's got a flush draw and a gut shot. And Rudy continues to bet with 3 aces. Wow, and Ryan's going to call here with the 10.
Yeah, he's drawing dead.
And Min is called. And the river is a 7. And Rudy bets again. Why not, right, Dave? Limit's all about making bets.
Well, pretty much, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The only thing you're worried about here right now is if someone had ace 10. That's just about it.
Right, but in a limit game, the worst that's going to happen is you lose 1 extra bet.
Right. Right.
You see a lot of beginners check down the river when something scary comes. And it's not the correct play. Value betting is saving those bets and value betting is key in limit hold'em.
So, Dave, I want to open this show up because obviously we're the only live webcast of poker on the internet. Boy, there was a huge development over the weekend regarding some big internet poker sites. Party Poker basically broke off their skins, didn't they? I hopped on to Empire Poker on Saturday afternoon to find that there were no games. And I thought I rebooted my computer. I thought it was something to do with my browser or something, but nothing changed. And I went over to Party and saw all the games. Then I hopped on to 2+2 and started getting some more information about what was going on.
And they hooked you up. Yeah, I did the same thing. I told you on Sunday.
Yeah.
Usually I work at the Bicycle Casino on Sundays, but I was off this Sunday. And I went and checked out Empire Poker. I was like, let me see if I can play a little stud high-low, 10-20. And I see like 1,000 players playing on 400 tables. I was like, wait a second, what's going on?
We'll get into this a little bit after the hand. Seat 8 was the raiser. Everyone checked the flop, and now Eric, who checked the flop, is going to bet with his ace. So everyone checked the flop, and he's going to bet here with ace deuce.
Rudy's a bit of a loose cannon there. Raising pre-flop with queen 8 offsuit, huh?
And Eric's going to take it down. Now, what basically this development is and what I've kind of inferred, and it made me kind of jump out of my seat a little bit too. Now, I play about 40 hours a month online. I'm not a full-time player. But usually with about a 30% rake back, I can make anywhere from $700 to $1,000 a month from rake back.
Right.
So how about a guy that plays 150 hours a month or 200 hours a month? It's like someone saying, all of a sudden, okay, I'm going to take $4,000 away from you.
Well, you said you make about $700?
$700 to $1,000.
Well, if you're looking at it, if somebody just did it, you do it 40 hours. If somebody did it full-time, 40 hours a week, you're talking somewhere between $2,800 to $4,000 a month, which is not a bad living.
No.
Especially, you're talking tax-free.
Even if you just broke even in the game.
Yeah, you're talking tax-free. It's obviously a big hit.
We got a raise here by Min in seat 6. He's got pocket jacks.
And what you said earlier to me is very similar. It's a shame, but I guess it is kind of like some people's pink slip, so to speak.
That's what they say, yeah. Sometimes internet players are like, this is my pink slip. I got to go get a real job now.
Well, unless you beat the game significantly, suddenly you've got $3,000 less coming in.
Yeah, it's incredible. So we got a bet here by Min with pocket jacks, and a couple people have called. No one has a queen. The turn's a 9. And Min's going to continue to bet with just one over there.
And David calls there. He had nothing on the flop. He stayed in there. Now he's caught a 9.
Well, the river's a 10. And now Min's made a backdoor straight. And he bets. And no one's going to call.
Now, Sun had the flop. Sun at least got second pair on the flop.
Right.
So you're sticking there. Curious what the King 9 was in there for.
Oh, sometimes it's amazing.
Well, this is 8-16 limit. Obviously, you'll see some amazing things here, won't we?
Absolutely. Yeah. But, I mean, obviously, like, if you beat the game, I guess what you're trying to strive for is 2 big bets an hour. You can still make, a good living off of, but still, it's still like saying someone's going to take $3,000 or $4,000 a month. And I guess the reason why, and someone might correct me out there on 2+2, was that the initial offering for Party Poker, when they went public, kind of crashed. And Party Poker was like, well, you know what? I'm going to take the competition that's beating me from myself, basically, in the skins. I know these skins guys are given rake back. Well, I'm not going to give them access to the tables. It's the
now,
same
Party
platform.
Poker does not give rake back?
I think they do in selected cases, but it's not as easy as some of the skins that you could get.
The skins obviously were doing it to get a lot of money.
Right.
Owen is actually going to raise here in the big blind with ace king.
Yep.
He gets 2 callers here.
And the case ace flops.
But there's also a 10 out there, so Min has got a 2 pair. So bad flop for Owen.
Look at this. Owen bets and Min just smooth calls, and Ryan calls. Now, the turn is a 9, and again, I think that this is just kind of a low-limit mistake or a beginner mistake. Min is going to wait till the turn to raise, but, it's just in limit hold'em day when everyone's calling. I mean, I guess a case could be made you could slow play it, but if he had raised the flop, he was going to get called by everyone anyways. Now the guy with ace-6 might go away, but we'll see.
Right. Well, he might want, the guy with ace-6 now, if a 7 comes out.
Yeah, he's got a gut shot now.
Yeah. A 6, 6 obviously is no good, but a 7 is good.
So a bet there by Owen and a raise by Min on the turn.
And he still gets called by the ace-6.
And Owen calls. Oh, no, Owen's going to lay it down. Boy, that's a rare laydown at this level.
Wow.
It's obviously the correct laydown. And the river is a queen. Now anyone with the jack would have a straight, but Min continues to bet. And ace-6 calls all the way.
Wow.
And ace-10 is good.
Yeah, bluffing is it's rare that you can really put on a successful bluff here.
Yeah.
But you see, one thing that's really interesting, and I go back to what Barry Greenstein always says. He says that he likes to bluff, or he likes to raise with his semi-bluffs on the turn.
On the turn, yeah.
Because that represents a bigger hand. And you see, certainly here, Min there, when he makes his top 2 pair, he waits the turn to put in the raise.
Yeah.
So isn't it more believable if you do that with your semi-bluffs as well?
Right. Well, it's more believable in the fact that a lot of times, especially as you move up in limits and limit hold'em, Dave, if you get raised on the turn, one pair is usually not good.
Oh, definitely not.
You know? Ace-King is not good.
I mean,
you know,
generally speaking, even if I'm heads up, if I've got top pair and a player I respect raises me on the turn,
or
I'll
check
muck.
raises you on the turn.
I'll muck
Yeah.
most often.
Yeah.
I just look at it and go, I'm not sure exactly what you have, but I'm pretty sure I'm beat.
Yeah. We got a raise here by seat 8. He's got ace-queen. Seat 9's going to smooth call with ace-jack of spades. And we got 5-way action here times a double bet. So there's 10 small bets in the pot right now. And the flop comes 10, 5, deuce, rainbow.
Misses everybody here.
Ace-queen is still good.
Sharik's got the gut shot, straight draw.
See if Rudy keeps firing here. Look at this. Min's going to bet. And Rudy raises with the overcards. David calls 2 bets with ace-jack of spades on that flop.
He's got overcards and a backdoor spade draw.
And, yeah, Sharik's got a gut shot, but he mucks. And, you know, if you bet if you're Min there, but you get raised, that really is a time to release your hand, right, Dave, with king 9?
Yeah. He's got 1 overcard, and you don't even know if it's good.
And the turn is an ace. Rudy's going to bet with the ace-queen. And David's going to raise now with ace-jack. Well, he's almost representing a huge hand by smooth calling the raise on the flop and now raising the turn.
Well, what's interesting, he's also all in.
Oh, he is all in, I see.
But what's interesting is...
Yeah, and Rudy's going to put him all in by re-raising there. And the river's a king. And ace-queen is good.
Well, I was going to say, the way Rudy played the hand, he raised on the flop, almost saying like I had a pocket pair like jacks or queens.
Right.
So when the ace comes, David might think, oh, okay, the ace is good, I'm good. This
Yeah.
guy's still betting his queens or his jacks, but they're not good.
Yeah. But,
I mean, I'll tell you one thing, there's no point in me going back to Empire Poker anymore.
No, that's the whole thing. That's the idea for Party, is that they're going to get all the skins business now. Because what are people going to do? They're not going to continue to play on the skins. There's no games.
Well, in the end, you go where the action is.
Right.
You know?
Right.
80 on 9.
But I mean,
You know?
I'm kind of waiting to see where the dust settles because I'm not, totally unconvinced that you can't get some form of rake back from Party either.
Yeah, I don't
think
want
you
to
can.
sign up for Party and not get a
Yeah.
rake back. I'd like
Yeah.
to see as well. Maybe somebody at 2+2 can help us out.
Well, I think there's all kinds of forums going on there, and it's been going crazy. I actually logged on Sunday, and there were 300 people in the internet gaming forum talking about this stuff. I mean, it's a big development for someone who plays Internet Poker Pro.
Huge.
Yeah.
Well, can you imagine? I mean, obviously, we prop here.
Yeah.
Can you imagine suddenly they said, you're not going to get your collections back anymore?
Right.
I'd be like, excuse me?
4 players.
We have 4-way action. Eric is the original racer with King Jack suited. And the flop comes out Queen 7-5. It looks like Greg has the best hand in seat 7. And everyone checks. Turns at deuce. Let's see if Greg fires now with the Queen 10. And he is going to bet. What is Ryan thinking here? Well, he's going to make the call with second pair, Dave. I mean, a lot of people think that, limit I can play way more hands and take off so many because it's just one extra bet when it's actually the exact opposite. And look at that. He spiked 2 pair on the river.
What do you know?
He spiked 2 pair on the river. But it's a spade, and he doesn't even necessarily know if he's good, and he just calls. Just calls.
If you're going to get there, you better raise.
Yeah.
Queens.
7-8 is
8s
good.
and 7s.
Now, a lot of people, especially sometimes people that come over from No Limit or are new to poker, and we see it all the way up to 30-60, Dave. Especially, I mean, one player in particular I'll bring up is that lady Spamanka. I mean, I've seen her play, and she'll say, in limit, I can chase you all the way. You know, she'll call with no pair, no draw on the flop. When in actuality, it's really the opposite. Limit is about saving bets, figuring out if you have the odds to call. The implied odds aren't really there, like in no limit.
I've noticed for myself, when I'm playing bad in limit hold'em, it's generally I'm chasing, and I'm not ahead.
Right.
Generally, you and I, we don't suck out that much.
Right.
But we're getting sucked out a lot because oftentimes we're ahead, and we've got 4 people calling for second pair and for draws and for whatever.
4 players.
We have 4-way action. The pot was limped around. Looks like seat number 8's got pocket 10s there. Now I guess that's a move. I usually will bring it in for a raise under the gun with pocket 10s. But he just chose to limp, and he bets the flop, and he takes it down. If I'm correct about that, now where's the button? Actually, he was in the big blind, Dave. So many times, you know, with pocket 10s, if you already have 3 or 4 people in, I don't think your hand is necessarily that good to raise for value.
Yeah.
But there's different ways of playing it, and that he chose to check it, and then he bet the flop, and he took it down.
Right. Obviously, it depends on the table you're playing at, your table image, and so forth.
Right.
Sometimes you like to raise, take control of the hand.
Right.
But if you get people that are going to call you down anyway, you know, unless you hit a set or it comes out all babies, you could be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And this is really, I mean, limit hold'em is really, obviously you and I play every game, but limit hold'em is really my bread and butter.
Yeah. And it's limped around here.
4 players.
I saw you had a nice win on Friday, actually, on limit hold'em.
Yes.
Which is good to see.
I had been running pretty bad in the game, which is bound to happen in limit hold'em, Dave. I mean,
Without a doubt.
It's just limit hold'em.
The nature of the beast.
King, queen, 8, couple spades.
Raise.
And we got a bet here by Min with top pair, and Rudy has raised with absolutely nothing.
Well, Rudy
Ace
likes
5.
to raise, anytime Rudy raises pre-flop, which he did this time, he likes to raise the flop, regardless. Seems like. He did it last time.
So Min's got the top pair, Ryan's on the flush draw. Min's hand is still good here. And everyone checks, and Min's going to put a bet in. I like the bet. You don't necessarily always have to be worried that someone's going to check raise you. Why not
See,
bet? Why give him a free card?
Yeah, he check raised to the flop. Why check raise the flop there and then check the turn? Kind of an odd play.
Yeah, you're right. He check raised the flop. That is really strange without a
And
draw.
then check raise the flop with no draw, no pair.
Right. Well, Ryan still has the spade draw, but it doesn't get there. And let's see if Min fires one more time here.
Yeah, Ryan's got a pair of 4s now. He can only beat, let's say, like Jack 10.
We're just getting warmed up.
And it just gets checked down, which brings up an interesting point, Dave. Obviously, in no limit hold'em, I think that you check rivers down a lot more than you do in limit hold'em, because you always have the possibility of being check raised on the river very, very big. Well, in limit hold'em, it's just one extra bet. Now, on a board like that, would you bet King 10 again?
They have to.
Because, I mean,
It's a no-brainer.
a guy with a pair of 4s, he might call you, especially at this level,
He
right?
might have been calling you down with a queen the whole way. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So
If he's got a bigger
it's a
king
missed,
than you,
missed value bet there.
yeah, if he's got a bigger king than you probably would have heard from him somewhere along the way.
Yeah. Sometimes if someone's going to call me all the way with King Jack and I bet the river and he calls, I kind of shrug my shoulders and say, well, you know what? 4 out of 5 times, that's a good bet.
Yeah.
You know, it's just,
And the 1 time out of 10 that I get check raised, okay.
yeah. You don't see that a lot, though.
Very rarely.
I actually see it more with advanced players online than I do live.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be a pretty good player to make a check raise on the river.
Yeah. And even more so a check raise bluff, because if you get check raise on the river, 99 out of 100 times you'll probably beat.
Yeah.
So.
5 players.
Pot is once again limped around.
Now 5 players in there, huh? So that's we're talking $16. We're talking about an $80 pot.
It was actually, it was limped around.
Limped around, so we got a
So
$40
$40
pot. Sorry.
yeah. And Min has got a pair and a flush draw. But David also has a flush draw in seat 9.
Now this would be, just so everybody knows, the first level of betting. This is obviously the $8 level.
Right.
3 players.
4 chip level.
So Ryan is check called with the top pair. Now the turn's a 3. Gives Min an open-ended straight draw now, too, with the flush draw and the pair.
And David's got a pair with his spade draw.
And David calls.
You know what I mean? And they catch you still almost. God.
And Ryan makes the crying call. And the river's a queen, and
Wow.
now David's made queens up. And he's checked it, Dave. And now Min's going to bet. Well, you got to think maybe... and look at this. We're going to see a check raise on the river.
But once again, the check raise on the river, it pretty much says, I have it.
And now if you're Ryan... well, the only thing that could be different is this guy's all in. I was going to say, if you're Ryan now, normally you almost know your hand is no good at this point.
Yeah.
But he's going to make the call. And now if you're Min, you really can't call now in seat 6. You got check raise on the river, and you got a call in between.
All right, let's
And he
see it.
rightly mucks. I was going to say, the only reason why Min might bet the river there is if he thought his hand was no good, right? With the pair of 4s.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Trying to get somebody off the hand.
Yeah. And the other thing that people, new to the game, Dave, don't realize is that you play much, much tighter in limit pre-flop.
Yeah, Limit is a
Much
very
tighter.
mechanical game.
Yeah.
You can really, you do want to play players, obviously, and when
Yeah.
you get to know certain people, you can play differently versus them. But if you're in a full ring game, once again, you want to avoid playing out of position. You want to play in position.
Right.
And, and I don't think you want to play, there's not much point in playing troublesome hands, You don't have to mix it up too much. The blinds aren't escalating.
Right.
Raise.
And we get a raise here by Rudy. He's got 5-4 suited. A case could be made. You could bring this in for a raise on the button if you thought you were going to steal the blinds. But if you got people in the blinds that are going to defend with any 2 cards, there's no real reason.
Yeah.
You're putting yourself at a disadvantage. You are in position, but you have to change your style around if people are just going to call with anything, which usually you see at the lower limits, right?
See, it's funny,
But he does bet it, and he does take it down.
it's funny, I've read all those, Skalansky books, and I've read, pretty much every book out there I've tried to read. And if you're playing at a table that's pretty much like calling stations.
Right.
Tell what the
I happen to disagree in the fact that I don't think there's much value in suited connectors.
Uh-huh.
I just don't, not in this game.
Yeah.
Maybe in no limit there is, but in limit, I just don't see, more often than not, I get a draw, and then I'm chasing somebody, and I can't bluff them out of the hand.
Well, usually my rule of thumb, Dave, is that if I can get in cheaply with the suited connector from up back and there are several limpers, I can play it. But once you have a raise, and a lot of people don't realize it, you should really never be calling with the suited connector in a raise pot, pre-flop.
Once in a while, I'll mix up my game. If I'm playing with players that I play with often, let's say I'm playing with you, Bart,
Right.
and I think that, okay, maybe Bart's got a handle on my game, so I want to mix it up a little bit, and you raise in middle position, I might re-raise you on the button with 5-4 suited.
Right.
Just to mix it up, so when I show you 5-4, you go, suddenly
Right.
just kind of changes you a little bit. And next time I 3-bet you, I might get paid off.
6 players.
So we have a pretty loose passive table here. It's limped around again. 6-way action. And the flop comes 5-4-4. Rudy's got trip 4s.
Didn't I just say 5-4?
Now, he should really jam this, especially when he's been betting without his good hands, Dave.
Yeah,
And
Son's
he is
got
gonna
clubs.
Bet. He is going to bet.
Actually, look at that. Eric and Son. Eric in seat 2 and Son in seat 3 both have flush draws.
Yeah.
Now, if the 6 of clubs were to come, which
Yeah.
obviously is not available, sorry. I actually looked up. 6 of clubs is already taken up, so it can't come.
Well, there's a club. It's the jack of clubs. Now, let's see how this plays out.
Well, now 2 people have made flushes.
And Son is going to bet. I like the bet. You don't necessarily want to give somebody a free ride with the ace, in which case Ryan in seat 1 has the ace. So he bets with the king-high flush. And Rudy's just going to call. And let's see if Eric thinks that he's going to check raise from seat 2 with the flush. No, he's just going to call. Pretty passive, Dave. You don't normally see, flush versus flush. And the river is an ace.
Well, let's see if Ryan pays off now.
Oh, man.
Now he's got a pair of aces.
Fine.
And now Eric comes out and he bets. He didn't check raise the turn, but he bets the river
And
with a smaller
Son-
flush. And Son just called.
Wow. So now this might not be a terrible play by Son if he can get the last 2 players to just smooth call as well.
I was going to say, can Rudy possibly lay this hand down? It's 8-16. We've been seeing how the guys play. And look at that. Ryan calls him off with the weak ace.
Now, he did overcall
With the ace deuce.
And I'm going to give Son credit there. Some people will say it's an automatic raise. Why wouldn't you raise it the king high flush? Well, think about the hands. Suddenly, the pair four, the 3-4s,
Right.
they might not call you anymore. Ryan with the ace might not call you, and the 10 deuce of clubs, you might get one call.
Yeah.
So you actually lose $6 by raising.
Mm-hmm.
Not $6. I'm sorry, $16 by raising. And I'll say that it's even sometimes incorrect there to raise if you had, say, a full house, even. Because you have players in behind that you want to keep in.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We got pocket nines here. Trap in seat 7. He's going to bring it in for a raise.
I'm going to hope somebody on 2+2 can give us an update on the Red Sox game tonight.
Now here's another fundamental pre-flop mistake in Limit Hold'em, Dave. Calling raises with ace rag suited. Again, a case could be made you might want to limp in from up back with it, but to call with ace 3 of diamonds in a raised pot.
Yeah, depending on the player, sometimes I'll call that in the big blind.
Yeah.
Take off a flop and see if I get lucky. Especially if it's a big pot, especially if like 7 or 8 people are in there.
Now the flop got checked around.
And look at that.
And look at this, a 3 peels off on the turn. And now Greg's going to bet.
Well, Trap has trapped himself here. Greg likes to be called Trap, and he's trapped himself.
Now, not raising here would just be absolute just suicide. It would be ludicrous. And I've seen it done before.
Raise.
But he is going to raise. I mean, unless you say, oh, I'm just scared of the flush. But, I mean, can you always play scared poker, Dave?
Wow, and look at this. And Trap calls him.
Well, he's got the 9 of spades in his
How do you
hand.
even know it's good if it hits?
And look at this. The 10 of spade peels off on the river. And it gets checked down.
You got a spade?
I think.
Nice hand.
Now, there'll be a lot of people that will say, I like to say, in Limit Hold'em, you don't want to be a hero and make big laydowns.
Right.
You don't make a living by making big laydowns in Limit Hold'em, okay? Generally, the pot is too big,
Right.
and the odds the pot is laying you are just too big to make big laydowns.
Because if somebody makes a bluff 1 out of sometimes 15 or 20 times and they're correct in doing so, they've won in the end.
Right, exactly.
You have to almost keep somebody honest because...
Well, it's one of those things, right? If you were to say, okay, if I only pay this guy off, if I were to call this guy and I'm wrong, well, it cost me $16. It cost me 1 big bet.
Right.
But if I fold and I make a big laydown, it could cost me 9 big bets or 10
Right.
big bets. And like you said, sometimes if I'm only right once out of 8 or 9 times, well, I'm going to make money on that play.
All right, 2 players.
Got a raise here by David in seat 9, ace 9 of spades. And Queen Jack is in there from seat 6.
Well, they
10-9
both hit
form.
pretty big hands here, big flops.
Check call.
That's 2 times.
Open-ended straight draw. Turns a
Well,
2.
look at this. David's now got the spade draw,
Yeah.
and Min still has an open-ended straight draw.
So if the king or the 8, and if it's a spade comes, Min's hand is no good. Well, the river's an ace.
Makes David 10s even stronger.
I mean, I've seen sometimes, Dave, people have such a strong hand like David has right now and check the river down in games upwards of level of 30-60.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, are you kidding me? I mean, it's good when they're against me.
I
If
love
I
it.
might have been calling him with something like, a 10, a king 10 or something like that all the way,
Yeah, there have been a number of times where somebody's checked it down to me, and I'll almost turn it over like, oh, well, I must have the winning hand then.
Right.
And I'll turn down, small 2 pair.
Right.
And they'll show me a big 2 pair, and I'm going, oh, okay, sure.
Right.
It's odd.
Raise.
Definitely odd.
Min's got a king queen suited.
You didn't TiVo the Yankee Angel game tonight, did you?
I didn't.
Okay, good. So we have to get updates then from
Uh.
everybody. I'm curious who was winning that game.
Speak it.
Oh, there we go. I just heard the Angels are up 3-2. Everybody at home will be wondering, going, wait a second. It's, with a 5-minute delay, obviously that'll be all screwed up.
A lot worse when we weren't on. You can say word.
Now, king queen suited is a hand that I would bring in from a raise, Dave, in early position. But king queen offsuit, depending on the table, I might muck. an early position.
Yeah, depending on the table, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, if it's a real passive table, sometimes I'll start raising with anything
Right.
in late position, just because I can outplay the players. Like most answers in poker, it always depends.
3 players.
Three-way action here. It's been limped around. And the flop comes king, jack, 10.
Misses everybody. Let's see if anybody bets it.
Turn is a queen,
There you go. David's made it straight.
and he bets. And it looks like he's going to take it down there. Well, another interesting, discussion about strategy you can have in Limit Hold'em is blind play, because this is something where Shirley Rosario, one of the other commentators for Live on the Bike, and I disagree. She seems to think that if you are heads up, you can pretty much call with any two cards that work somewhat together in the big blind, because you're getting about 3.5 to 1, and you need to protect that portion of the pot. Something like a deuce 3 offsuit, she'll call the blind. I just feel that you're at a positional disadvantage. And what are you going to do even if you hit the flop? Right?
Right. It depends on the player you're playing against, of course.
Yeah.
Seat 6 here, Min's got ace-king offsuit.
Well, the button's going to bring it in 7-8 suited, and small blind re-raises with the ace-king.
Well, there you go. Well, I don't dislike the play by Sharik. He had 7-8 of hearts. He's on the button. He's making a raise, kind of as a steal.
Right.
But he also takes control of the pot.
Now, David calls for 3 bets with king 8 of spades, and he picks up a spade draw in the big
Wow.
blind, and he bets it. Now, 7-8's got a gut shot, but if the 6 comes that's a spade, it's no good.
Raise.
And he's going to raise with the draw.
Time.
Oh, he's going to get Min out of the hand, I think.
Yep.
This will be interesting. If the spade doesn't come,
Well, the
and a
question
king
is-
doesn't come,
Is C5 going to keep firing?
right, well, that's what he's got.
Oh,
Oh,
there's a spade.
that whole thing. No point in talking about it now, huh? Well, now you kind of hope the guy has a jack, huh?
And it goes check, check. He takes the card. River's a 4. Oh, now there's a full house on board, but with the king 8, I don't necessarily know if you're scared of a full house. Well, he bets.
Yeah, I don't think Sharig is going to check a jack there on the turn.
You can bet for value if you think maybe a guy with an ace would call you there.
Yeah,
Jacks
oh,
and
definitely.
fours. Yeah.
Or even a middle pair, like pocket nines or something like that. Now, I was going to say, yeah, generally, I happen to disagree with that as well. I don't like to call out of the big blind against a tough player.
Right.
But it depends on the player. There are players that I will call anything against because they're so passive. They won't necessarily bet their hands.
Right. Right.
They'll raise with ace queen. I'll have 9-10, right? And then when the flop comes out all rags, I check to them. They check also,
Right.
and they give the pot away to me.
And we're going to see the pot limped around here
5
again.
players.
5-way action. A couple aces out here and some high Broadway cards. Ace, king, jack, all spades. Now, there's king, jack, and C3's flop, bottom 2 pair. A couple people have weak aces. King 10's got a
Time.
second pair and a gut shot. No spades out there at all.
Not a 1, huh?
Nope. And we got a bet here by seat 3, and everyone looks like it's going to call. These are the types of hands that just kill me in Limit Hold'em when I'm holding king jack. I mean, any spade, any 10, any queen, you just don't know.
Oh,
That's a
wow,
good
look
card.
at that. And David's now made 2
But
pair.
look at that, yeah, ace is up with the ace 3. I definitely think my king jack's still good here,
That's
Dave.
funny. You'd think the 3 of them is, oh, that's a good card.
I mean, how do you call a flop ace, king, jack, all spades with ace 3?
How do you call his
Offsuit.
king 10?
Ugh.
Well, I mean, he's got the gut shot, but do you really want it?
And the river is a spade, and that's probably going to kill all the action.
That's it.
And I got to tell you, that's another time I bet it also.
This is up.
I like to bet my hand. Until somebody tells me I don't have it, I'm going to keep betting my hand. Because I certainly don't want somebody to stay in there with some small ace. I mean, some small spade.
You mean on the river, too?
Even the river. 'Cause you got to think about it. If you're in late position, right, and you have any spade or even any reasonable spade, you're going to bet it, right? And if I have aces up, I've got to call you, don't I?
Right.
Well, but unless you have the nut spade, in this case the queen of spades, you can't raise me if I bet. So it's the same amount of money anyway.
Right.
And I'd rather be the better than the caller.
Right.
And if you raise me, I can safely throw my hand away. Knowing the odds of you raising me here without the nuts, very slim.
But a lot of people have trouble with that, betting the river and
course.
then with the intention of folding to a raise.
Oh, well, that's it. You've got to be able to fold it.
Raise.
C3's got pocket ladies. She's going to raise it up with queens.
There we go. Wow, and Min threw away a couple of ducks there. He had pocket deuces in seat 6.
Well, that's definitely not unheard of, Dave.
No, I mean, I like the laydown, but at this game, the way I've been watching it, I almost expected a call.
And Jack 8 in the small blind calls and King 7 offsuit in the big blind calls.
Wow. Look at
Oh,
David
jeez.
flop.
Son's going to bet here. David calls.
Yeah, this is the way I don't like a slow play. To me, I like betting it.
Because the guy with queens isn't going to get away from it, right?
I don't think so.
And he's going to check raise.
Raise.
Wow, and the guy with queens calls. Well, he can catch a queen here, Dave.
There's
and
nothing
would
he
win
can
the pot.
beat, though.
The river's a 4, and it's a third. And now with the third club, it's just how do you call? King 7 is good.
And that's what I'm talking about with value betting and limit hold'em. Obviously, Sun in seat 3 probably gave away $32 more than he had to. Because you think about it, he didn't need to call the raise in the turn, and he certainly didn't need to call the river bet. That's $32.
Right.
You know, when you're talking about an hourly rate where you're only trying to win 1 or 2 big bets an hour, that's 2 big bets given away.
And David really's on a roll here in seat 9.
I mean, with a flop of King 7-7, if you have queens, what can you beat?
I got to tell you, since we've been doing 816, we've probably done maybe at least 5 816 shows.
Right.
I really haven't seen any solid play from anyone. I got to be honest with you.
Well,
It's
generally
amazing.
speaking, I mean, obviously
Yeah.
there are solid players at 816 level. There are solid players at 2-4.
Yeah.
We just see less of them, obviously, because they're playing fewer hands.
Yeah.
So you might only see a solid player play 3 hands in 3 hours.
Now Rudy has ace king of hearts. He's going to raise it up on the button. But 3 of the aces are out there.
Is that right? Yeah. With the breakwater, the jetties,
4 players.
there's 3 of them. Yeah, that's it. Believe me.
And we got a deuce 3-6 here on the flop.
Well, Sun has outflopped them.
Familiar.
Across the big hotel right there by the...
Rudy bets
Let's see
here.
if Sun check raises here with the top pair.
Now, if you've got a player like Rudy, who I can tell will always raise with anything, anytime he pre-flops, and he's going to check raise, I would have rather have me bet with the ace-6 so Rudy can raise the other people out behind me.
Yeah. It's a good thought there.
Yeah.
So obviously your ace-6 is vulnerable
So
to...
Sun has check raised Rudy, and Rudy's made 3 bets with ace king, and he's drawing to 3 kings. He's got a red ace king. I think sometimes when you've got a raiser who'll raise anything in the flop, bet right into him so you can knock everyone else out.
And
You know?
just like no limit hold'em, you've got to realize that ace-king, especially hearts, anything, but it's a drawing
And look at this.
hand.
Ryan calls 3 bets with queen 3. Turns a spade. Now Sun has a flush draw.
Yeah, they're both drawing really, really slim.
And everyone checks. And the river is a queen.
Queen, oh.
And look at this. Ryan's made queens up on the river.
let's
No
Man.
business in the hand, and he checks it. He checks queen 3 here at the end. Boy, is that a misbet on the river. How do you not bet queen 3 there if you're
Yeah.
in there with that hand?
I understand them both checking on the turn because, you know,
Right.
Rudy showed so much strength, you had to put
Right.
him on like an overpair, like pocket 10s or jacks or
Right.
something. But then, yeah, you make 2 pair, you've got to get some action.
Yeah.
Obviously, especially when it's a red queen. Now, how would you, when you look at this game, how different is this game from the 20 game and the 30 game? Because we get that question all the time. People go, is the play much different from 3-6 to 4-8 to this game's 8-16 up to 20-40, 30-60, and so forth?
I think you definitely see probably, I mean, depending on the texture of the table, usually less multi-way pots. But I can be honest with you, you go out there on Friday and Saturday night, the game can play just like this.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
The game is similar to this sometimes.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. And I actually think a lot of people, because Dave you and I play stud high-low as well. Some people think that stud high-low is the most brutal poker game. I actually think that limit hold'em is actually the most brutal poker game for, just bad beats and suck-outs.
Yeah,
the thing with stud high-low is you can go on tilt because you can have huge draws that you never get there.
Right.
I think it's worse, though, when you are in the lead and have a ridiculous hand beat you on the river.
Yeah.
That's what kills me.
Yeah. To me, the worst beats, they say about stud high-low, they say if you are prone to go on tilt, do
Right.
not play this game. But yeah, you can get some brutal beats in limit hold'em.
Yeah.
Obviously, any version of hold'em. Well,
Seat 9 was the raiser there with the ace-jack, and he's at top pair.
He's got it, huh?
But Greg has got Jack 10, which doesn't give him anything, and he's going to muck.
Well, there you go.
Min calls with a gut shot.
Eric's got second pair. Is he out?
And Eric's still in there. Turns a king. And seat 9's going to bet here.
Now, this is generally, you do not have the odds to take one off here on the turn.
No, sometimes, usually what you can do
If
by
you have one pair.
rule of thumb also is that if you have a gut shot and it's a raised pot, and you have like a few people in there, and if it's a rainbow board, you can actually call one time on the flop. Because basically what you're doing is you're calling one small bet, and if you hit your hand, normally you're going to have actually implied odds on the next round to come around.
Obviously, you've got to calculate the pot and stuff. But yeah, that's a good general rule to look at. I like to look at a rule like if it's a raised pot and I've got 5 or more outs that are clean outs that I think are clean outs for me to win the pot, on the flop I can take one off.
Yeah,
for me to take one off on the turn, though, I've got to have at least 8 or 9 outs.
And usually that means that if you have a pair when it's not a ridiculously coordinated board, you can actually call on the flop.
Right. But you've got to make But you've also got to make sure that your 2 pair is good.
Right.
I'll give you an example. If somebody has, if somebody raises and the flop comes out king 9 deuce, and I have ace 9, my ace might not be good.
Right. Now C3's got pocket kings in the big blind, and he's going to raise. Now kings, and you raise to drive people out and for value. This is one of these value raises here, Dave. In the big blind, you want to raise because your hand's probably that much better than everyone else. And he does. He's got a call by king deuce and jack 9 of diamonds.
One guy's got 2 kings, and one guy's got 2 king.
Yep. 10-5-4. No, this probably should just go bet fold.
Yeah, I mean, this is Eric and Son. They both have nothing. Yeah, and it does go.
Or Eric and Ryan there.
Yeah.
Son's got the big end.
One thing I'll say, it's funny. Now, I've played... Hold on a second. Pardon me there. I've played 8-16, I've played 20-40, I've played 30-60, I've played 40-80. And there are times where the 20-40, 30-60, and 40-80 do play like this game.
Yeah. Well, the game across the street at some of the other, one of the other casinos in town, the 40-80 game, that's supposedly the most wild game in the world.
Yeah, I mean, and your variance, obviously, the more wild the game, the bigger your variance will be. Yeah. I mean, you might go home with up $3,000 or $4,000, but you very easily could lose a couple of $1,000.
Oh, yeah.
And you've got to know.
I mean, you could sit there and grind it out and play aces a couple times and ace king. You might play 4 or 5 hands in 2 or 3 hours and lose every one of them, and all of a sudden I'm down into 30-60, a couple grand.
Right. Seat 8 here, Rudy raised with ace 9 of hearts. Seat 4 is going to call with the 10-8, sorry. And, wow, everybody hits the flop a little bit. They both hit it.
And Owen's going to bet right with second pair. Let's see if Rudy raises here with the flush draw.
Now, this is a good time to raise, I think.
Now, actually, if you were really observant and you saw Owen lay the ace-king down before, you could wait till the turn to raise with ace-9 here, right? And he would probably lay his hand down. Well, now he catches an ace. And Owen's going to bet again. And this time, Rudy's going to raise again. Well, Owen got raised on the flop, and then he bet again on the turn, and he got popped.
Well, you know what? He tried to use that ace as a scare card, didn't realize that the ace actually made Rudy's hand.
Yep.
And I don't mind the play there by Owen, because he got away from it. He bet it to see where he was at. He got raised again. He said, okay, you must have it. I'll throw it away.
So going back to that topic that we were talking about, and I want to talk about this throughout the night, Dave. What I guess a business strategy move by Party Poker, huh? To draw
Yeah,
some
we'll,
more
we'll
players.
see how it works, obviously.
Yeah.
In the short term, though, it might lose a lot of its business. Because like a player like myself, who maybe only plays 10 or 12 hours online a month,
Yeah.
and obviously I play more like 160 hours in a casino, in a live casino, and probably 10 or 12 online, I was going to play on Sunday. And I didn't.
Yeah, but won't you just sign up for a party account now?
I didn't, though.
Yeah.
I haven't yet.
Yeah.
So in the short term, they might lose some of their business.
Well,
I'll just throw that at you.
I think what people say is that the fishes are on party and they're just playing on there anyways, and all the sharks are on the skins getting raked then. So they're going to move to wherever the games are quickly anyways. We got multi-way pot here. 2 bets by seat 7 was the Razor with pocket 8s. And the
Pocket 8s are no longer good.
Jack 5 deuce.
I like Owen's style. He bets right out when he thinks he might have the winner.
Yeah, Rudy's got king queen suited. He's going to call with overcards.
Another thing I don't really advocate, a lot of people say, oh, overcards you can call all the time with. And there are some flops you can call with overcards.
But obviously this one with the jack on board, you might be up against queen jack, which you're up against.
You are, exactly.
Right. Turn is a 9. And Sharg had called with bottom pair. And Sun had called with pocket 7s. Wait, Dave, let's wait till see what this hand comes away here.
You almost never have odds to call with a
that's
pair.
what I was going to bring up.
Unless you think you're the best. Sometimes you might say, you might put the other guy in a draw, and you might actually think your pocket 7s are good.
Well, Rudy, he's picked up a gut shot now with the 10. And he's going to make the call. He needs to catch a king or a 10.
See, and that happens more often than not. I want to touch this point in a second.
What's the score?
And the river's a 4.
4-2 man on first one out in the 4.
Let me guess what you're going to say. Mistake begets mistake?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
You stay in there with your overcards and maybe a heart draw, something like this. You got king, queen of hearts, you got one heart out there. And you catch something that says, oh, well, now I've got another draw. Now I got a king, would probably give me a win.
Is he going to call him off with king, queen?
He is.
He calls him with king, queen. Owen, who's been playing pretty solidly. This guy seems like he is a pretty solid player in seat 4. And he got paid off the whole way.
And he just kept betting his hand. I like it. I like the way he played it. And he got paid off on the river even. And it's funny, some people say, oh, well, only a hand that beats me is going to pay me off. Please, that was king high that paid him off.
Yeah.
Don't give your opponent credit. But in that case there, he calls with overcards, right? He catches a 9, convinces himself that maybe I'll stay in for one more card. And then the river comes and he goes, oh, the pot's too big. I can't throw my hand away now. Ends up costing himself an extra $40. 2.5 bets he cost himself there.
Looks like this one's going to get chopped around here. I think there's several, really, really basic mistakes that people make. Obviously, pre-flop holding selection. I just see so many people limp in early position, Dave, with like a gap-suited connector. That hand just has no value whatsoever. Limp in with 7-9 of clubs under the gun.
You're not going to make enough money. Like in no limit, if you're limping in for $20, but the upside is $8,000.
Right.
What's the upside in this hand? $60, $80, $150 maybe.
The other thing too is people who call with pairs, with low pocket pairs. And let's say I call with pocket deuces or pocket 3s. Somebody raised an early position and there were 4 callers. Now I figure, well, if I hit my set, I have my odds, so I call. And the flop comes ace, king, 4, and I have pocket deuces. You almost never have odds to hit a set. It's just so ridiculous. Owen raises here and takes it down. I mean, think of it. You've got 2 outs. So basically what you want to do to make that call, somehow with the amount that you're putting in on the flop, you need to make about 25 to 1. 24 or 25 to 1, Dave, on your money. And that's almost never offering you that, even with the implied odds.
Almost never, exactly. Do hope all our viewers are appreciating our limit night. We've had a barrage of no limit nights, and I know a lot of players were hoping for a limit night here or there. And we're going to try to give it to you guys. Occasionally we'll do the 8-16. You might even throw in a 3-6 or a 4-8 once in a while. And then obviously we'll try to throw in the 30-60 or 20-40 once in a while. If we ever do spread an 80-60 or 61-20, Problem with that game is they do spread here, but generally speaking, they start later than our 6 o'clock broadcast.
Right.
You call her a good hit.
And we've got five-way action here. I think it was limped around.
Check.
I can check.
Check.
Ain't nobody wants this fight.
And no one's hit top pair here.
No, Sun's got a straight draw. That's about all I can say.
Rudy's got second
Ooh,
pair.
Ryan's hit a set of deuces.
Well, it got checked around. There's
Yeah.
one time you can back into it.
Hey, why not?
And he checks it. And now seat 5 bets. Seat 5 is going to bet with absolutely nothing. He's got ace high.
Hey,
Wow.
give him a shot at it.
Rudy call. Rudy's going to raise. Well, what a time for a lucky 3-bet if you're
Yeah,
Ryan.
he had second bet. He's second bet. Now, do you smooth call this?
It's
Or do you
lim-
3-bet it?
Of course you 3-bet it. It's limit hold'em. There's just way too many draws and stuff out there. He's just going to call, though. I mean, does he think he's getting tricky by check raising
See,
the
the funniest
river,
thing is that
possibly?
Rudy, if he 3-bets it, Sharik's going to throw his hand away, but I think Sharik's going to throw his hand away anyway.
Yeah.
And if he 3-bets it, Rudy probably still calls.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't know what other people have in their hand. The river's a 4. And look at this. Okay,
Bet.
all right, now Rudy checks.
Let's see if Rudy pays him off.
And now Ryan bets.
Now, Ryan is 3-bet the turn.
No, he didn't 3-bet the turn.
He
just
didn't 3-bet the
called.
turn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I was giving him grief about.
Now, what do you do here if you're Rudy?
The whole world can know, but we don't get to know. I'm going outside in 5 minutes. Make
Well,
a phone
he's the
call.
one that raised the turn. It was Rudy, and then the other guy called, and now
Is that right?
you got to figure that the guy has at least a queen if he called my raise on the turn. And
Well,
again,
the only
people-
thing that can get tricky is if theoretically this guy called my raise with a diamond draw and
Right.
missed and had to bet it.
Right.
But that obviously is a different possibility.
I mean, Dave, it's just a case where this guy with deuces, okay, he checks the turn when he hits a set. Now you've got a guy who bets from seat 5. A guy in front of me check raises. I'm not going to 3-bet that to make the guy pay for a diamond draw that might be behind me in seat 5
Right.
or some sort of straight pair and a straight draw.
You never know, right? And I can't blame Rudy for paying that one off, though. Because it was very easily a table like this, especially the way Ryan is playing, that Ryan could have missed a diamond draw.
No, I agree with you there.
Although Ryan is playing it so passively, I don't think
I just-
Ryan bets unless he has something huge.
Yeah, it's just amazing that he didn't 3-bet there. I got to tell you, I would have bet right out with the set of deuces. It got checked around the flop. Who's going to bet the turn, you know?
And he got lucky that somebody
Yeah.
bet and somebody raised it.
Yeah. Seat 7 has raised here. Jack 9 of diamonds, I believe.
Well, David's hit top pair.
King Jack. And as always, he checks it. And Greg bets here. David calls.
Now Greg actually has a double gutter here. An 8 or a queen gives him a straight.
He bets again. And David calls. So see if he hits the straight draw. No, the river's a 4.
I didn't see it right away, but
And yeah, Greg bet the river there, Dave, as a bluff. And David called him all the way there with King Jack. Looks like he has having a chicken kebab back there, Dave.
yeah. The old chicken kebab.
Yeah.
One thing you can really get out of watching Limit Hold'em is if you play Limit Hold'em, there is no better education than watching this webcast.
Right.
I don't think you can get it from a book. I don't think you can get it from anything. If you just watch this Limit Hold'em webcast and you watch what players do, watch how often people don't have anything, how players play, you can take that to your own game.
Well, Trap here is going to raise. He just lost the last spot. This time he's got 9-7 suited from the cutoff. And Rudy's called with an ace-jack on the button. To me, I would 3-bet or fold that hand on the button, Dave. I got a cutoff guy who raised to my right. He's hit top pair.
Ace Jack off suit is in most games a troublesome hand. You never know. Greg just lost a big pot, though, and might be steaming a little bit. Gives even more credence to the fact that he probably should have 3-bet it.
Now let me make a prediction that if Greg bets, Rudy will just call, and now Rudy will raise on the turn. Turns at 3.
I check.
Oh, this time Greg checks. And now Rudy bets.
See, this is one of those cases, if you're going to check and call, why not bet then?
Because you're afraid you're going to get raised.
Then throw it away.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I check.
And Rudy correctly bets here on the river, and he's going to get paid all the way down.
Good value bet there on the river.
Nice.
You know what I mean? It's like he bet the flop, he got called. He goes, oh, shoot. Damn it. The guy's probably got an
you
ace.
know, I get- and-
The guy goes, damn, the guy's probably got an ace, right? Okay, I'm going to check the turn and call him.
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to do that, why not just, why not rate? Why not bet yourself?
Right.
To me, it makes no sense.
I mean, one of the other things, too, is that you shouldn't be doing, I don't think you should be doing a lot of cold calling of raises in Limit Hold'em either pre-flop.
no.
Usually it's a 3-bet or fold. I mean, there are certain hands, Dave. Sometimes I'll cold call with a king-queen suited, ace-jack suited, a pocket pair when several other people are in, giving me the odds to hit my set.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, you got to look at, if 3 people limp in,
Right,
and then the guy in the cutoff raises, and I look down and I have pocket 5s in the button,
right.
and I know those 3 people are going to call, plus
yeah.
I'll probably get the big blind to call.
Yeah,
Then I'm looking at it going, well, I'm in the button, so I can make some money. I might call there.
right.
But generally, I like to see even those. I like to get in cheap.
4-way action here.
Hey, CW Siggy wants to know, Bart, why aren't you playing in the Stud High Low tournament?
Is that going on tonight?
It is, yeah.
Big poker auction?
I believe it's a $300 buy-in tournament tonight.
Yeah.
Stud High Low. Getting word that Angie is playing in the tournament.
Angie, our nice server?
I wasn't aware that Angie played Stud High Low. Wow.
Interesting. So here he goes. Corey on 2+2 is saying that Empire stock went down by 33%, but Party has also dropped 15%.
Well, I was going to say, I think in the short term, this will hurt Party's income a little bit. It has
Yeah.
to. You
But
look
you
at-
got to think it's going to destroy the skins. We talk about the skins. Those are the companies that were
Oh, I wish I could have sold.
a different name on Party's platform, like a Eurobet, Empire.
I wish I could have sold Empire short about a week ago. Rolling in the dough right now. I limped around here.
C3's got an ace-8,
Yeah, actually, Eric's not in the hand. There you go. Son's got top pair.
and Ryan calls with bottom pair in seat 1. Turns a 9.
And limit hold'em, just like no limit hold'em, you really want. I like any poker game. You really want to get to know your opponents. You want to know who's going to check raise you, who's going to bet,
And
who's going to call you down.
Ryan calls again here with bottom pair.
Oh.
And look at this. He hits 2 pair on the river. And now at least he's going to bet it there, Dave. It's a 3rd diamond.
I got to be honest though. If I'm Son though, I don't like him checking it though. Bet it. Ryan, if Ryan raises you, you can throw it away. That's a bad beat there.
Well, sometimes, and we discuss it sometimes in no limit too. If your hand is just 1 pair, like Ace King there, you can bet, and then if you get raised, you can safely fold. But sometimes people will actually check their better hands when the 3rd diamond falls, because you don't necessarily want to be like bet with Ace Queen and I'm going to fold to a raise on the river because my hand is too good.
I don't see it, but if you check it there, if you check it there, and Ryan was calling you the queen, I think it was Ace Queen blank, right?
Yeah.
You lose a bet.
No, absolutely. I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, I
agree
just
with
don't-
you, absolutely.
And if a player like Ryan raises you, you know your hand's no good. Even if you have Ace King.
Got a raise here by seat number 9, Ace-7 of diamonds. 5-way action, 10 small bets, which is $80 right now. Flop comes 10-4-4. And Min is going to bet here with top pair.
Now, we being in the United States, I don't think we can actually even purchase Empire Poker Stock or Party Poker Stock.
If it's
right?
on the London Exchange, I don't know how that works.
As soon as I win a pot.
You mean you can't diversify your portfolio in
I don't know.
international
I mean,
stocks?
we're allowed to buy international stocks. I'm not sure if we're allowed to do those. I don't know all the rules. I'm not honest with you.
Turn is a deuce of
I
diamonds.
should know that too.
Min bets here. And look at this. David called the flop with ace-7 of diamonds. He's picked up the backdoor diamond draw. Greg is in there with a better kicker than Min. Greg
That's-
never raised the flop, Dave. And the river is a 5. And you got to think if Greg raised the flop, he probably would have won. And now Greg bets, and now David raises with the backdoor diamonds.
And you got to be sick here.
I mean, with a hand like Queen 10, and you've got Min betting into you, I mean, you want to drive out a hand like Ace King, Ace Queen that maybe David holds because he was the pre-flop raiser, right? You don't want to just let him, take the flop for one bet.
No, you're right. Although I got to be honest with you, I don't mind if ace-7 of diamonds calls there.
To a raise on the flop?
No, I'm saying, but
Oh.
I mean, you almost want ace-7 of
because
diamonds
it's
there.
so
I mean,
bad. Yeah,
it's-
yeah.
He's drawing with one of 3 aces
Right.
or runner diamond. Another thing about limit hold'em is mistakes often breed new bad players. Because players at this table will see this guy catching diamonds, diamond, and go, oh, I can do that too. And like David, who just caught runner, diamond, obviously didn't play the hand well, got lucky. He'll do that forever.
We're going to look at our first chip count in the night there. So Eric is in seat 2 with the lead.
Oh.
And there's quite a bit of amount of money on the table here, Dave.
Yeah. I mean, haven't you ever watched some guy suck out and catch a second pair or a runner straight or something like that and go, that's it, I'm doing that next time. And obviously it's not good, but it teaches bad habits.
Who was the pre-flop raiser here? Who was the pre-flop raiser here?
Raise.
And it was limped around here. King 6-3, a couple of spades. And we've got top pair there by Eric. Sun's on a flush draw. Couple callers. And it looked like Rudy bet the flop, Dave, and he mucks to a raise. Total bluff. Ace-9. Three-way action. Turn to 6. Well, Min is in kicker trouble.
Yeah.
He bets.
Raise.
And Eric is going to raise here with King Jack.
Yeah, Min cannot win the hand. He can only chop it up. And he chops it up if an ace or a queen comes out, or a king, obviously.
Or a 6.
Thank you. There
Yeah.
you go.
This is one of these cases where can King 5 be good? The guy's raising me here on the turn. He gets away from it.
Now, Sun threw his hand away to a raise. I like the raise by Eric.
Yeah.
Eric got that flush draw out.
Someone was lying, I think, out there somewhere.
And he said, if somebody has a flush draw, I'm going to make them pay for it. And he takes it down.
Well, the only thing with that is I think that he only smooth called the flop.
He smooth called the flop, waiting for the turn to put the big money in. Because oftentimes people will call that mini,
Right.
it's only half a bet raise on the flop, but they don't want to put $32 in calls on the turn.
Come on, chippy. Back to your drunken daddy.
Raise.
Seat 8 here is raised. Queen 10 offsuit. First couple positions, Dave, normally not a playable hand in limit hold'em.
No.
So were they scoring again on him or what?
And he shows it like he's proud of it.
Yeah. And I see so many people, even at the mid levels, like 2040 and 3060, call raises with things like Queen 10 and King 10.
Offsuit.
Yeah. I got to tell you, I'll be honest with you, if it's not a multi-way pot, Queen 10 suited, King 10 suited against a tough player
Yeah.
who raises an early position.
Well, if you miss your hand, if you check it to the tough player,
Yeah.
heads up, they're going to bet no matter what
Right.
comes out.
Concerned because they got him out.
I don't know any good player, heads up, in position,
Get him. No.
who will not continue betting if they were the pre-flop raiser, regardless of the board.
Pot is limped around here. 1 limper and 2 blinds. Ace 6-8. Now, seat 5, Sherry, he's limped Dave from the cutoff with Queen Jack. Another case where I would bring that hand in for a raise. And he checks it in position. The turn is an ace. I mean, would you limp with Queen Jack from the cutoff if you're first in?
It depends on the table. I might at this table, to be honest with you, actually.
Just because you think the blinds are going to call regardless?
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes I want to... sometimes I don't even mind inviting them in at a cheaper price, and I can outplay them afterwards.
Look at that. Seat 9 is eating like a leaf. He's got a whole leaf in his mouth.
Oh, a little basil? A little basil leaf?
Basel, is that like the city in Switzerland? Or you're talking about the herb?
I'm talking about the herb.
It's always called basil where I was from.
It was. You know what? My wife calls it basil. I think it's an England thing. So I've called it basil ever since. Terrible.
That's right. It was John Cleese's name in Fawlty Towers as well.
Fawlty Towers?
Yeah, Fawlty Towers, a great English comedy show, sitcom on BBC. Sometimes you can pick up on PBS over here.
Really? Oh,
Oh,
okay.
great comedy.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Faulty!
Four-handed, 4 ways here. Flop is 9-7 Jack. Wow, David's got 2 pair. Rudy's open-ended. And Sun here's got bottom pair.
Well, Dave bets the bottom 2 pair.
I like
And
betting it.
Sun calls, and Rudy's going to check raise with the open-ended straight draw. And David 3-bets him. Jam, jam, jam.
Oh, nothing like putting more money in the pot when you're way behind.
Well, David's the 3-better with the bottom 2 pair.
Right, I was talking about Rudy.
Yeah. And he calls. Turn is a 3.
That changed a lot.
David's going to bet.
Now, this is obviously one of those cases where the pot is big enough to definitely go for the river.
Especially a totally
open-ended.
rainbow board, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you don't like the jack being there for 10 were to fall. You could be scared, but you're pretty sure this guy doesn't have king-queen.
He's not going to lay this down now, is he? What
Wow.
the hell, Dave?
Yeah, that's obviously...
I-
you definitely have the odds to go for that one.
I mean-
And let's see what the river would have been.
I think it looks like an ace. Looks like an ace.
And the river
there.
would have been an ace, obviously, and he would not have gotten there.
But I mean, it's just a mistake, like a bad call, is just sometimes like a bad laydown in the middle.
Well, that's what you're going to see. Obviously, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't want to, kill the point and everything. That these players are obviously, some of them are beginners.
Right.
But that's the nature of a small limit game, and obviously we see it all the time in bigger limit games also. But whether you're playing 2-4, 3-6, 4-8, or in this case 8-16, you're going to see some questionable play. And a lot of these guys, they're not doing it professionally. They're here to have a good time, and they're not here to make the correct play. They're doing it whatever they feel. My wife used to play once in a while, and she goes, sometimes I just go by instinct. If I feel it, I go for it.
We have an email here from eso@city.dk, and I think DK is an extension of Denmark. So maybe that guy's watching us from Copenhagen. It's a Danish gentleman. Do we have any articles that we've written on 2+2, or what kind of reading do we recommend? We'll get to this at the end of the hand. Button raised here. And 3 callers. Jack 5-6. So Rudy bringing it in for a raise with Queen Deuce.
Ryan's got the best hand here at 6-4.
Rudy bets.
Now, if you're Ryan here, and you think your hand is the best, and you want to raise it,
This is almost like the Texas Hold'em game that you can, Turbo Texas Hold'em, Dave. You can really tag these guys as certain players. Passive Ryan in seat 1.
yeah.
Calling Ryan. Turns a 10, and everyone checks. And the river's a king. And Ryan still has the best hand.
Check. Sit down, please.
Ryan's going to take it down here. Pair of sixes.
Yep.
Here's 6 this. Here's 6 this.
So, Dave, have you written any articles on 2+2?
I have not written any articles. I have put some posts on.
But you do have obviously you write for Live the Bike website, Under the Gun. And we apologize that none of that has been updated. Our producer has actually been out of town. And they haven't given us the necessary tools to post it up ourselves.
Yeah, she doesn't trust me.
But that will change.
I'm pretty sure Evelyn does not trust me. I think she's going to think I'm going to put some sort of porn up there or
Yeah.
something like that. So,
Or maybe some of the technical staff could give us that access.
no, Evelyn won't allow that, actually.
Oh.
Evelyn still, she does not trust
I'm
us.
trying to, throw stuff at Garo and Isaac, but they're still not hearing me.
No, they're not paying attention to you. They're ignoring you. Pretty much how I like to ignore you. No, but obviously, actually, you can go to liveatthebike.com, and you can check out Under the Gun with David Tuckman. And my blog is there, and I've written a couple of more. Hopefully it'll be updated. It might even be updated already. I don't even know.
I don't. Unfortunately, it's not. I checked it out yesterday.
Okay. And you can also actually check out from my latest thing, you can actually go to pokerblue.net. If you go to pokerblue.net, I have an article on that called I Could Have Been a Contender.
Oh, okay.
And you can go read that one. It's written by me.
Eric has made kings up, and he's bet the turn. Flop got checked around.
How about that? It's not a bad board for Eric there. He's got 2 pair plus the king of clubs.
And Rudy looks like he wants to play every hand, Dave, and he's no good here. Now, Greg calls him with pocket sevens, and he's in real bad shape.
Now, this is one of those cases where maybe he's calling because he has a club in his hand, but now he's no good anyway.
Well, the river's a club. And Eric bets, yeah, and Greg's going to call with the 7 of clubs. What was that, Dave?
That accidental.
Yeah, that looked like a muskrat or a gopher.
Yeah.
At the end.
Raise that thing.
Seat 2, it's Eric, the muskrat. He likes to do his little muskrat thing. And then he asks, what kind of reading do you recommend? Reading for what? I mean, I like Stephen King.
I'm assuming that he's talking about poker strategy.
Okay, obviously it depends. Well, depending on the game, what game you want to play, there's obviously a number of different books. I like David Sklansky's Advanced Poker for Advanced... what is it? Hold'em for Advanced Players?
Hold'em for advanced players. I mean,
I like that
That's
book a
pretty
lot.
much the Bible of Limit Hold'em. I mean, if you actually learn that book and get some experience, you will become a winning player.
Yeah, and there's some stuff in there that I don't necessarily agree with, but all in all, it's a pretty good book. But there are a lot of books out there you can get that are pretty good. If you want to play Stud High Low, there's a good book out there written by I'm blanking on his name. Huh?
Ray Z.
Ray Z, thank you. And it's a Stud High Low and half Omaha High Low, but the Stud High Low section is much better than the Omaha section.
Check line.
Flopped around, limped around here. 4-way action, 10-7-3 rainbow.
Yeah.
Order call.
And actually, we got 5-way action. Owen bets here with an open-ended straight draw. And
There you
Rudy's
go,
going
good
to
raise.
raise again. He's
I
got
like the
top
raiser.
pair.
He's got top pair. Well, Rudy's at least consistent. He raises without anything, and he raises when he's got something.
And seat 4's going to 3-bet. Owen 3-bets here with the draw.
Wow. Rudy calls him.
Turns a 10. Now Rudy's got trip 10s, and Owen bets again. Time for Rudy to raise here again, right? Unless you think the guy might also have a 10, right, with the better kicker.
Well, Rudy's going to find out real quick that he probably doesn't.
And obviously, if the jack comes here for Owen, it's no good.
See, that's one of those
Catch a
cases.
6.
If I'm Owen, I don't really want to bet into that board when I have
Yeah.
10 cups because
And look at this, it's a jack, and Owen straight is no good. And he bets again, and he's going to get popped again.
and I was praising Owen's play because I thought he was playing it pretty solid until now, but I think he badly misplayed his hand.
And Owen calls. Full house beats straight.
When your opponent raises you on the flop, you 3-bet it and he calls you. You got to start putting him on a range of hands. What might my opponent have?
Right.
I have 8-9. The board is 10-7-3. What might he have? Ace 10, Queen 10, overpair.
Right.
Now a turn comes out of 10. If you put him on a 10 and you bet into him, you have to know you're going to get raised. And the problem with this one is you can't throw it away because you have a draw.
Right.
Well, now the river comes out of jack. You can't even like it that much because you go, okay, what might my opponent have? He might have 10-9. He might have Queen 10. But players like to play Jack 10. You've got to think there's a possibility he might have Jack 10.
You do know.
I think Owen was going to lose money on that in that hand no matter what. but he certainly found a way to lose the maximum.
Well, that's always good, right?
I mean, poker is a pretty simple thing. You want to make the most money you can on your winning hands, and lose the least on your losing hands. That's it. That's all poker is.
Now Ryan limps in from late position with King Jack. He hits top and bottom. He's gonna bet,
And Sharik here's got second pair with an open-ended straight draw.
and he's gonna check raise, Dave. And Ryan's gonna 3-bet. It looks like.
Now, with 2 hearts out there, I wouldn't even mind Sharik throwing this hand away.
Turns a king, and now that fills Ryan up.
And now it's a definite throwaway. Because you've got to be worried that you might be drawing dead.
And he does throw it away.
Nice play by Sharik there. Well played. And the river would have been a queen. Probably would have gotten Sharik in trouble there. Had he stayed in and tried to go for the straight. Probably would have paid him off. And a mistake probably would have beget another mistake. He probably would have lost an extra $32. So there's a big jackpot for this game. What's the jackpot at right now, actually?
Well, it starts at 40,000 every time they hit it, 6,
Wow.
12, and up. And that includes all the games above. We used to, in the mid-limits, not have a jackpot. It used to only go up to 10, 20, but it's actually, it actually applies now for the 20, 40, and for the 30, 60, and all Hold'em games.
It even applies to the 400, 800 games.
Yeah.
I know
During
Johnny
the-
Chan and Barry
Right.
Greenstein hit it.
Right.
What a joke that is. And it goes up $1,000 a day. So currently the jackpot is at $42,000. Obviously the jackpot was hit a couple of days ago. And that goes, that's 50% for the losing hand, 25% for the winning hand, and the table shares the other 25%.
Right.
And all you need is aces full of tens to lose to 4 of a kind. I've got some exciting news here. Really exciting news. Wanda is watching in Portland. Wanda is watching in Portland. And that is actually seat number 2's Eric Miller's sister.
Is that kind of like that when they were doing those codes in Red Dawn?
Wouldn't that be great?
Behind the demilitarized zone.
Wanda is watching in Portland.
We're actually Russian controlled here at Live.
Wouldn't that be great? That would be cool.
We got a raise here by seat 8. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache.
Wanda is watching in Portland. We're having fun here at Live at the Bike. Playing 816 Limit Hold'em.
So we got a raise here by Rudy and a call by Sharig. Sharig, I think he just limped in on the button with the suited connector. He's picked up a flush draw. And actually, we're getting aware that Sharig 3-bet the flop, and he bets the flop. Now he's going to bet the turn. He picks up a flush,
And Rudy's got the ace of diamonds, so he can't go anywhere.
and he calls. And if a queen came out, Sharig's hand would be good. Queen of diamonds. Look at this. Is the 6 of diamonds, and Rudy has the best hand.
Now, to me, this is obviously a place where you
And look
bet
at this. He
with Sharik.
checks it. He checks it. And Sharig bets. And now Rudy's probably going to check raise.
And this is a place where you can throw your hand away. Rarely the players will do it, but I like the bet by Sharik. It's a nice value bet. You might get paid off by 2 pair. You might even get paid off by a king.
And he's going to get check raised here.
And Sharik can safely throw his hand away.
Do you like the bet there with the 10 of diamonds?
I
on the
do.
river? Yeah.
I got to be honest, I do. Because you get, especially at a game like this, you get paid off. This guy might pay you off with King Jack. He might pay you off with King 10.
And let's see. No, he's not good enough to get away from it, Dave. And Rudy slow rolls him, turns the 10 of spades over first.
Yeah. It's very obvious.
Well, again, if the river was a queen of diamonds, then we really would have seen fireworks.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt. That would have been a straight flush draw, a straight flush for
Yeah.
Sharig there. And obviously an ace-high flush for Rudy. I like the bet, though, to be honest with you. I don't think you lose any equity there. And you've got to think of all the times that Rudy
If
is
you're
going to
going
pay
to
me
fold
off.
to a check raise, I
Exactly.
guess. Yeah.
Because think of all the times that Rudy will pay me off.
Yeah.
If he has King Queen, if he has, even if he has Ace King,
Yeah.
right? But not a diamond, he's going to pay me off.
Seat 9 is going to limp in here. Dave, under the gun. All right, how about this hand? King Jack of spades. In a
Under the
real
gun,
pa-
it's okay.
Do you sometimes you limp in with that if you're
Yeah,
just
under the
past
gun.
table?
Table
Yeah.
like this, yeah.
Sometimes you'd bring it in for a raise too, right?
Yeah, obviously that's one of those. It really depends on the table, the texture of the table.
Now Ace 10 of clubs raises from up back here on the button mid. And look at Dave. Look at the amount of chips he has in front of him. Incredible. And here we go. All diamonds. And Son has hit a set. He's hit top set.
Check.
Now, usually top set is a hand that's good enough to go to war with the exception of this one case. But you're still going to be in there, because obviously you've got redraws if someone flopped a flush.
Yeah, you can't go anywhere here with top set, obviously.
And Eric calls. And David calls with King Jack of spades, Dave. Turns a 10.
Yeah, there's sometimes you just got to know when to get away from a hand.
Yeah. And now,
Ace.
maybe Eric bet the flop and Son just called. I couldn't tell, but Son raised the turn now. And the river's a 3, and he fills up.
No, but Eric's got that 10, so I think he's going to...
Yeah, he pays him off.
Pays
Well, again, it was tough to see what the action was, but I think that's just another clear-cut case, though, where, I mean, if a guy in seat 2, let's say Eric bet there on the flop.
He actually didn't bet the flop. He actually checked it,
He did.
and Son bet.
Okay,
And then when
he
the
just
10
bet the
came on,
turn.
when the 10 came on the turn,
Oh, okay.
Eric decided to bet.
Well, let's say Eric did bet on the flop.
Right.
Do you raise there with the 7s, right? Or do you try to keep the pot small and then raise on the turn, or you wait for? Sometimes people wait for a safe
Well, it's
card.
an interesting way to play it, because you look at it and go, I don't necessarily mind I don't mind raising on the turn, because you're not going to get rid of the ace and the queen of diamonds
Right.
anyway. Ace, king, something like
Right.
that. You're not going to get rid of a big diamond then.
But maybe I don't want a dangling 5 or 6 of diamonds with a pair around
Right.
5, 6 of 6-5 offsuit with the 6 of diamonds.
Right. You might
like
wait
that.
till the turn. I mean, there's obviously different ways to play that hand. You might wait till the turn comes out a safe card and then pop it there and really get rid of those dangling cards. Because you might even get rid of, if you do that with the dangling ones, you might even get rid of, like, say, a jack of diamonds.
Right.
Because they figure, okay, well, I don't have the nut, and this guy might have the nut of diamond.
Option, sir.
Pot is limped around here again. We got 5-way action.
So limped around 5 ways, that makes it a $40 pot, folks.
8-7-3. Looks like seat number 7's got ace 8. That's trap. But seat 5's going to bet here with 7-5.
Raise.
And Min calls us with king 6, Dave. King 6 of hearts on that board. Wow.
Well, he's got a heart draw.
Yeah, backdoor heart draw. And trap raises here with top pair. Best kicker. Sherry calls, and now Min is out of there. So heads up, ace 8 against 7-5 of diamonds. Turns an ace. That gives
Wow.
him aces up.
Greg's hand's getting better and better and better.
Let's see if Sherry gets away from it now.
His shrink's pretty solid. I think he's
He
going to...
seemed to have been pretty solid.
And he calls.
He makes the call.
He might be frustrated. I mean,
Yeah.
he might be frustrated because he turned that flush.
Well, the river's a 4 of spades. And another good bet here on the river by Greg. Nothing
Oh,
really
there's no
scared
brainer
him.
here. Top
Yeah.
2 pair.
Well, what if someone says, well, what if the guy's been chasing me with 5-6?
Yeah. I mean, the only thing he can beat here is 9-10.
Look at this. He bets. He makes the call. Aces up is good.
You know, it's interesting. I know a lot of players that have coaches. You know, poker coaches. You know,
Right.
or they go to poker school, and people watch them play. I can't think of a better way to go to poker school than to play on this.
How about signing up for the archives and watching all of the live action? But you can do that by clicking on the archive banner at live@thebike.com. $14.95 gets you all of the archived action.
Did I
Plus
set
an
that up?
instructional DVD from Howard Letterman.
Well, there you go. I just kind of like soft pitched that one. But to be honest with you, I mean, obviously, that's a nice little plug there for Live at the Bike Archives. But I'm going to be honest. Get a seat 5 raise here, but pocket 10s. And you know what? I'll get to my point in a second.
We got pocket queens, pocket 10s, ace jack, and king 10 of clubs. So some interesting hands here. Seat 6 looks like he raises with the ace jack.
He re-raised? Because
Excuse me,
Sherry actually raised with
Sherry
10s.
raised. Yep, Min called, and now David's got queens. Is he going to 3-bet?
4 players.
He just
Like
called
he just called.
Yeah, I don't mind that play. There's sometimes I'll smooth call queens in the small blinds.
And Ryan's in there with king 6.
Because I know I'm not going to get rid of anybody, and then a flop comes like this,
Well,
I
now
can
you
get
got
away
to get away from it.
And you
right?
can get away from it real easy.
Is David going to get away from it, though? Now, Sharik bets, and Min just calls. And look at this. David does not get away from it.
4 plays.
And Ryan's in there with king 6, so everyone calls. The turn is a queen, and he's rewarded, Dave. Just when we said it.
I'm beginning to think we know nothing. That's it.
Now, Sharik checks now with the 10s. Min bets with the ace-jack, and now David's going to check raise with queens. I mean, that's just incredible.
And Ryan's thinking about it. He's got second pair with no kicker.
I mean, at this point, too, Min really should get away from a hand with ace-jack, right? I mean, I don't even know what Sharik is thinking.
Yes, everybody should. Well, unless Min's sitting there going, well, I can stay in there and hope for a 10.
And Ryan called with the king 6? Wow.
Yes.
Wow. And the river's an 8. Dave, we're talking about like maybe a $200 to $300 pot, right?
Yeah. Well, you got to understand, and he's paying him off.
He's paying him off with king 6. And is Min going to make the overcall? With ace-jack?
Yeah, Ryan calling this should save Min money.
But it doesn't. And you look at it, like, how do you call the flop? Wow.
One set of queens.
But again, you look at that, and he is drawing to 2 outs. There are 2 cards remaining out of how many we've seen? 2 in your hand, 3 on the flop, so 2 out of 47.
23.5 to 1.
Yeah, for that 1 out to make that call. For the 2 outer for that 1 card on the turn.
It's an obvious call.
Right.
I mean, you have to understand, but obviously we're being critical of some of these players. These players are here for fun, though.
Right.
They're playing 8-16. They're not professional poker players. They're just playing to have a good time.
We are here to professionally rip their play sometimes.
No, without a doubt, without a doubt. But at the same time, I mean, obviously, you can learn from their play, but you've got to realize that these guys are here.
Yeah.
They work other jobs generally. They come here to blow off some steam. They have a couple of drinks. They have some dinner.
Yeah.
Play poker for 3 or 4 hours, and they go home.
Pot is limped around.
Eric's got top pair here.
Queen 7-5.
And he's going to bet it.
2 of you.
A bet and a call. Min calls with the jack.
And this is another mistake, but getting a mistake here.
What is Min? Oh, he picks up a pair now on the turn.
And now he's.
Well, I guess he didn't have a straight draw on the flop. Did
No,
he?
he had nothing.
And Eric bets now, and Min folds now on the river. Wow. Unbelievable. Well, Eurotrash on 2+2 said, I'm raising King Jack suited under the gun 100% of the time on this table. And we didn't say that you wouldn't. I would raise with King Jack suited
At this
under the
table,
gun.
yes, I would. And
Absolutely.
obviously, when you asked me the question, you said, do you all the time? And obviously, it always depends on the texture of the table.
I mean, I wasn't asking you specifically at this table.
Right. I'm not going to raise. When I'm playing 81-60 or I'm playing 40-80 at a tough table, I'm not raising with King Jack offsuit ever. Actually, I'm not even coming into the pot with King Jack offsuit in early position because the players I'm playing against are going to 3-bet me and make me pay for it.
Right.
At
And
this
if they're
table-
going to 3-bet, they're obviously going to most likely 95% of the time have a better hand.
Yeah, exactly.
King Jack offsuit.
And at this table, and if they're calling me, 99% of the time they have a better hand than I have.
It's that gap concept that you're talking about.
But at this table, obviously there's value because these players are going to call me with inferior hands.
King deuce suited.
Hey, and I want that.
Right.
There's money to be made there.
You got a raise here by C8 with ace-9 offsuit, and the big blind calls with an ace-rag.
I mean, there's huge amounts of pre-flop equity in this kind of game because you're getting people to call with very weak hands.
Now, obviously, we say it always depends on the game, but here's another issue of blind play that I think a lot of people might lose a lot of money in the big blind. If you have ace-rag, and let's say it's offsuit, because let's make the question a little even more complicated. Is it good enough to call the extra bet? And then sometimes you throw it away heads up, right? I know against a tough player, I'd throw ace-4 away offsuit.
It always depends on the player I'm playing against. I mean, to be honest with you, I want somebody, if I raise in late position and somebody calls me with an ace-rag, I like that.
Right.
Because if it gets checked to me, I've got position on this guy. And if they hit, let's say I raise with king-queen, and the guy checks to me and I bet and he check raises me.
With like ace-deuce-4 on
I know where he's at.
Right. Right. But you got to understand that you only had, that chance of hitting an ace with only 3 of those cards.
Now, if I'm
Obviously,
playing
3
against,
aces
now
left.
if a weaker player raises me, and I have an ace rag, and I know I can win the pot not only if I hit my ace, but if I hit a number of other kind of flops where I can kind of scare the guy. Okay.
Now, seat 8 was the razor pre-flop. It looked like Owen bet with a 6. Seat number 7, Greg has raised with pocket 7s.
Nice
and
raise.
Rudy, who raised pre-flop, also has a 6, a better kicker than Owen's. So Owen has once again led out here with top pair.
And a great raise here by Greg here. He's going to make people pay. He has an overpair, and he doesn't want some overcards in there. He doesn't want dangling queens and jacks and kings in there.
Looks like Rudy. He just calls this time, dude. And Owen is in there. And Greg's in good shape. Turns a 4. And now Owen's picked up 2 pair, though.
But
and
that's
he
no
leads
good,
out
though.
again.
Greg's got bigger 2 pair.
Yeah. 6s and 4s does not beat 7s and deuces. And Greg calls. And the
But
river's
that
a
2
jack.
pair is trouble. Because Rudy's got jacks and 6s now.
Wow, the jack comes on the river. And it got checked around. Rudy did not bet. I think he was scared maybe with the deuce, but it was the 3rd diamond, and maybe he was scared that someone with the deuce was checking it because of the possible flush. So I don't really mind the check down there at the end, necessarily. So you got 2 pair, and then you got 2 pair, and then you got 2 pair. Just kept going up.
Yeah, everybody had like 3 pair there, it seemed like.
Yeah.
Hey, once again, we are live at the bike. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hansen. We're watching Limit Hold'em. Limits are 8 and 16. And the action's pretty crazy.
Yep.
Raise.
We're going to see a raise here. Rudy again, ace
Just out of
flag
curiosity,
offsuit.
I see CW Siggy's post here. Ed Miller's charts say
Right.
raise king jack suited. Who the hell is Ed Miller?
Ed Miller is the person that wrote Small Stakes Hold'em, which is a
Okay.
pretty
There you
good
go.
book for.
Okay, I haven't read that one. I should read that. I'm going to go out and get that right away.
It's more of like for the multi-way action
Right.
that like a low limit game brings. You know.
Now, this is the case here. Rudy's got top pair with top kicker, and Ryan's got that under pair.
Well, he's got second pair to the board now. He doesn't. Turns a 9. Rudy bets now again, and we just imagine that Ryan's just going to call him down all the way like he has been.
Well,
all
I got to
night.
say, I mean, against a tough player, like if somebody was playing against me, I mean, pocket 6s, that's not a bad flop, pocket 6s. I might even play it more aggressive.
You might raise the flop.
Well, thinking
Yeah.
you're full of shit.
Yeah.
You know? But we'll see what happens.
Let's see what he does here. He's going to call.
Well, yeah, he's probably just going to call them all the way down.
Another overcard here on the river.
Now, this is a time where a lot of people will check their ace-8 because they're scared that somebody hit the jack.
You check?
And it looks like it's probably just going to go check.
Yeah,
here.
this is a time where you can't immediately go, oh, well, the jack came, maybe that hit him. You can still bet your hands.
Already, yeah.
Okay, check.
It might be also a case where you may check to induce a bluff someone who missed a draw
Yeah.
on the end.
Without a doubt. Somebody has, say, 5-6 in that flop.
Yeah. I would definitely recommend you read. I'm a little surprised you actually haven't read that book.
I have
because
not read Ed
it,
Miller's
it
book.
does apply to those loose games, even at the higher levels.
I'll definitely read it.
Yeah.
Maybe Ed's listening. Maybe he can send us a book.
Some people have said that they actually like that book more than Skolansky's book.
And just to address Eurotrash on 2+2, obviously we're doing a lot of addressing tonight, having fun with it. Once again, he's saying, are you really advocating not 3-betting queen-queen here? And at this table, I would definitely 3-bet queen-queen because
Right.
of the equity.
Yeah.
People are coming
Out
in
of the
with
blinds.
such people are coming in with such trash that I want
Right.
that equity. At a tough table, though, if I'm playing 40-80 or 81-60 or any game, and it's a tough table. Sometimes I want to mix up my play, and not necessarily always raise with queen-queen in the blinds. Mix up my play. Maybe I'll raise with queen-queen 2 out of 3 times.
Yeah.
Or 3 out of 4 times.
Yeah, we got a bet and a call here. Jack 9's got 2 pair there in seat 6. Oh, look at this. The turn's a queen, and that's going to get seat 2 in trouble because he has ace-queen.
And that's what sometimes staying in there with overcards can do to you.
And the river is a king. And, or seat 6 there, new EB.
Yeah, Eric Batelli.
He just checked it down there at the end.
Yeah.
Well, I think queen-queen is almost a hand where it's almost always good enough to re-raise, even in the blinds for value. Not, I guess 100% of the time. Jacks is really the cutoff, but kings and aces, Dave, I think that hand is just so good in limit hold'em that you normally will raise it. I mean, won't you always raise kings and aces out of the blind for value?
No, I don't want to say I always do anything, to be honest with you. Generally, yeah, obviously, most of the time I will.
Yeah.
But once in a while I'll mix up my play.
We got pocket queens here in seat 5.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, there are a couple times I've played 20-40, and it was like 8 players entered the pot, and I looked at pocket aces in the big blind, and I just said, you know what? Maybe I can keep this pot small enough I can take it away with a check raise on the flop.
Yeah.
And I tried it. And somebody even said, you go, wow, you don't always raise with pocket aces in the big blind? I go, nah, 9 out of 10 times maybe I do. 19 out of 20 times even.
Re-raise.
Boy, we got a raise there by seat 5 with queens, and we got a re-raise by Ryan in seat 1 with jack 10 of clubs.
I mean, ace-king suited is also probably good enough to raise out of the big blinds, but I don't do it every time.
Well, I think you might get some heat from some of those textbook players online with that one.
You can be a textbook player. The problem is, you and me, I play with these players. Well, we'll get to this in a second. Oh my God.
4 queens.
Oh,
For
wow.
Look at him shake his head on the button.
We should probably stay on him. See what he's looking at. Let's,
It gets checked around. The turn is an 8.
well, if a king comes out, maybe, we got a straight out there. Rudy's got an ace. Here.
How about an ace coming on the river?
Oh, that would be golden.
Yeah.
Get a lot of bets out of Rudy.
And now Sharik slow played on the flop and he bets. Now, some people might call me crazy. I would bet my quads in position here on the flop, Dave. Why not just get more money in there?
You're going to get called, yeah. You got to hope somebody has something.
I mean, in this case, it just got checked.
Especially with a
on
flop
the
of
turn.
ace, queen, queen in a raised pot, you're hoping somebody has an ace. You know nobody's got a queen.
Rudy calls. And Ryan is going to chase for that gut shot with 2 hearts on board.
With 1 card to go.
Yep.
I'm rooting for an ace or a king. Come on, ace,
And
king.
Son calls with a 6. Oh, the river's a jack. Imagine if the 6 had come on the river, too. There would have been fireworks there.
Would have been beautiful.
And he might get Ryan to call here, Dave. You never know.
Oh, I almost guarantee you Ryan's going to
Even
call.
if Rudy calls in between. Wait a minute, Rudy's going to check raise the river with ace 4. You're sitting looking at quads on the button. He check raises the river.
Wow.
Oh, my.
And Rudy, it pains Rudy to throw his hand away. And he does.
Well, that's Ryan with the jack 10.
Oh, Ryan, sorry.
Rudy's the check raiser. And Sharik's looking out. I got quads, buddy. And maybe he's thinking if the guy has pocket aces, he'd have a jackpot. You would.
Yeah.
And he re-raises.
If you're Rudy, can you throw this hand away? Pretty safely?
What can you beat with ace 4? I mean, my God.
Well, you can hope for a chop pot if the other guy has like ace 10. But would he 3-bet ace 10? He's going to pay him off, though.
Going to call, and they're going to see a big gasp at the table.
2 pair. That's all. Just 2 pair. Now, I was going to get back to that point. I think if you play against, like, especially you and me, we play against the same players day in and day out. If I'm in a tough game, and I play the same way all the time,
Yeah.
these players are going to pick up on it.
So what you're
If
saying...
if I never 3-bet with my
Yeah.
ace king, and I'm only 3-betting with aces, kings, or queens, well, they know I have a big pair.
Well, this is funny because way back when, in the day of the early Live the Bike, I actually made a comment where sometimes I might not raise out of the big blind with pocket aces. And there was this discussion about that then, too. Now, you're saying that it might actually be in a case where you're just trying to mix it up and disguise your hand a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, pocket aces is an exception. I mean, pocket aces, honestly, I will raise pocket aces out of the big blind probably 99 out of 100
Well, that's what I was saying, too.
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe 999 times out of 1,000.
Right.
But
Seat 6 is
the one
raised here.
problem I have with always only raising, most players, and a lot of good players do this, they don't raise with like ace queen. They don't raise. Sometimes they don't even raise with ace king out of the big blind, but they raise their aces, kings, and queens.
Right.
Well, a lot of times I can pick up on that, and I go, and if a flop comes out with an ace, I go, okay, the likelihood of them having pocket aces is slim. Maybe they probably have kings or queens. maybe I can check raise him on the turn and steal it from him.
Right.
They're giving away a lot of information. So to me, they have to once in a while raise the ace king and ace queen also.
Now Eric has raised here, or Eric has bet the flop. He raised pre-flop, and Rudy's going to check raise with fives. Now in this case, not a bad play, Dave.
I love the play.
Yeah.
You can't be scared of a 6 here.
Oh, here's an ace here on the turn. He's going to bet.
I like the bet here. You want to see where you're at.
Now the river's a 7. He's going to bet it again. Well, I guess if you were going to call anyways.
Yeah. Once you get called in the turn,
Yeah.
there's nothing you can beat on the board anymore. You can't beat an ace, you can't beat a 6, you can't beat a 3, and you can't beat a diamond.
Yeah.
So,
Now, what I was going to say was that you actually bring up a good point. If people aren't necessarily going to raise with ace-king suited, ace-queen suited, or offsuit out of the blinds, and they only raise with big pairs, and you see an ace on board, that's really good for you if you're in position against that player, because the chances of them having 3 aces are a lot slimmer than them having
Exactly.
kings now,
Exactly.
or queens.
generally people like to raise out of the big blind with kings, queens, and aces. That's just, it's how good players usually play.
Pocket kings this time for seat 7. And he's posted from behind, and he's going to raise it up.
Pop and raise.
King, queen offsuit on the button here for Rudy. He's in big trouble. He calls. See, again, I just think that that's almost a clear-cut 3-bet.
With kings?
Yeah, no, with king, queen. Even on this table, because I don't want... unless everyone's just going to call everything for 3-bets.
Or a muck, you mean?
4 players.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. A 3-bet or a muck.
Yeah, I don't mind mucking king, queen offsuit.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
10 deuce deuce here on the flop.
Oh, that's a nice flop for kings, huh?
Yep, like you said, that bottom pair
Yeah.
pairing. Unless someone's in there with a deuce, unfortunately. But you're not going to be beaten by 2 pair now.
Wow,
like
what is...
someone like 10-9.
David called that with 7-8 of spades, and now he's picked up a straight draw.
Yeah.
Man. And this is another time where a mistake by calling on the flop has...
And king
creates
queen is
incentive.
still in there on the button. And the river's a 7, and now David picks a pair up. And seat 7 continues to bet with kings.
Smart. Trying to get that value.
Is Rudy
better.
going to do this with king queen once again? He's going to call all the way with king queen. But you can't beat ace jack or ace king.
Think David's going to call?
I think David is going to call. If he called the flop, he's definitely calling the river.
If you can beat ace king if you put the guy in ace king. Well, and if you're David here,
Rudy
if the guy
must.
has
And
ace,
David calls.
yeah, if the guy has ace king, say 1 out of 10 times, it probably
Yeah.
pays off, right?
Kings are good.
If Greg was bluffing with ace king,
Yep.
it works. The only thing I'm going to say is, if you're playing in a tough game, a tough limit hold'em game, against a lot of the same players, day in and day out, it definitely pays off to mix up your play. I think you have to. I think you have to mix up your play. In a game like this, and in most limit hold'em games, mixing up your play or advertising does nothing. Because nobody's paying attention. Nobody cares.
So here we go. I knew this was going to come in. A couple comments on 2+2 about how can you not raise with the ace-ace out of the blind. And again, I'm going to bring this back to the point. You said 1 out of 1,000 times to mix it up. Okay? Take it easy, guys, out there in internet land.
Hey, I would love to play against a player that always plays by the book. I recognize him. How many times have you sat down at the table and go, and you can look at some guy, he's about 25 years old, he's read every book. He knows how to play. You know what I mean? He plays at ABC, he knows exactly what to do, when to do it. Okay, that's great, but if your play is so predictable that good players can pick up on that, you're going to have a tough time in a tough game.
Look at this. It was limped around. Owen bets, and Rudy's going to raise with trip fours here. And is David? Yeah, David's going to call the top pair there on the button.
Hey, well, give Rudy credit. He raises without anything and with his pair when he makes big hands.
Yep.
And Owen called, too, with the threes.
Turns a 9. Rudy's going to bet here again. Button
If you're
calls.
Owen, do you get away from it now? Yeah.
2 of you.
River's a 6. Rudy bet the whole way, Dave. Well, see what he does here on the river.
You got to bet this. And he does.
And, yeah, he's going to take it down there with the trip fours. Yeah, again, bringing it back. With aces and kings, I will almost always, and especially with aces, you know, you raise for value out of the blinds.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
I'm not disputing that.
Yeah.
The
Now,
only thing I'm saying is that you've got to mix up your play.
Right.
If you're playing at a tough table with players that you play with every day, the same players.
so you actually might, like you were saying, maybe that 1 out of 1,000 times, keep the pot small or try to trap a player or something like that with that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, like I said, I mean, like, very rare.
Right.
It's a very rare time.
Right. But I see that Exist, a first-time poster on 2+2, says, it would be awesome if the announcers knew what they were talking about. The incorrect information they're spewing is like nails on a chalkboard to me. Well, again, I think that there's
Well,
a
poker's
little
like
bit-
an art form. You know,
I
everybody
think-
is available.
yeah.
Everybody can have their own opinion.
Right. It's, again, I don't want anyone to misinterpret what we're saying about aces, queens, or kings out of the big blind. Now, queens, though. Queens are
I
different.
like what Isaac said there.
Like-
Opinions are like assholes and elbows. Everybody's got one.
Yeah. And we're going to see it limped around here. 2-6-4, couple hearts.
He's got top pair here. Seat 8, Rudy's got 6-5.
5-6.
What's the score over there?
5-2. Second and third, 2-way. What is the game? Bottom of the sixth.
Turns a 5. Gives Rudy 2 pair now. But it gives Owen the nut straight here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And Owen bets, I believe, out of seat 4. And Rudy just calls. And Owen bets blind. And the river is an 8. It's a third heart. And it looks
And look at that, Ryan. Is he still in there with the Jack 9?
No, he's not.
No, he's not. I was
Yeah.
getting all excited.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
Calling all the way with nothing, you mean?
Well, hey, I mean, it's not beyond Ryan's play here. And obviously, a lot of the things that we're talking about here don't necessarily apply to this game per se.
Right.
The big thing is, obviously, when you're playing Limit Hold'em, is, in any real poker game, the answers are always, it depends
Right.
on the texture of the table, on who you're playing against. You know? If I was playing against Larry, our old friend Larry Gilbert, you know?
Right.
I might raise out of the big blind with 4-5 and take control of the hand because I know if he misses the flop, I can take it from him. You know what I mean?
Got a raise there by Rudy. He's got ace-jack offsuit. And king 5 of spades is called here on the button.
4 players.
And we got 4-way action. Ace-jack, ace-queen, king 5, and ace-4. 3 of the aces are dead. All diamonds, and Owen's flop the nut flush.
That's it?
And he checks it. Yeah, Rudy's the original raiser. Got a black ace-jack. He bets. And the button calls, king 5, and ace-4 of diamonds just called.
4 players.
So Owen's slow playing the flush. The turn's a 4. Wow, and Rudy's going to bet again with the ace-jack.
Raise it.
And we're going to get a check raise here by the nut flush. Son called with the king 5, black king 5, their bottom pair, and on the flop and on the turn.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really worth even critiquing a play like that, is it? Just makes you kind of raise your eyebrows and wonder what the heck's going on. Takes it down, though. Everybody folds. Once the queen of diamonds folded, I
Well,
guess
no one really had anything.
Nobody
I
else
mean,
had anything. Well,
yeah.
the queen of diamonds, he was the first folder.
Yeah.
And the river was a 9 of diamonds. Actually, would have gotten seat 6 there. Eric had a little trouble. He had the queen of diamonds.
Yep. I got to tell you, if you're you guys are gonna critique us out there on 2+2, get it right, Sykes. 3-betting with king queen suited. Are you on drugs? No, not 3-betting with king queen suited. 3-betting with king queen offsuit against a cutoff razor. In this case, the guy had kings or folding.
Right.
Or
folding. Right.
Right.
I mean, and in that case, I mean, if I have king queen offsuit,
Right.
somebody raises into me.
Yeah.
If I respect that player's play, I'll fold it
No,
9
that's
out of 10
an easy
times.
fold.
Yeah, it's an easy fold.
I got to tell you, 85% of the time I fold with king queen offsuit.
Oh, without a
Ace.
doubt.
Absolutely. But if
Now-
you're going to play it and you're in late position and the cutoff raises you,
Yeah, I don't.
why not take drive the hand if the guy's got ace deuce or something like that?
Yeah,
You know, he doesn't hit
even if
anything.
he's got ace jack or something.
Right.
Actually, even if he has ace king, if the flop comes out rags, he might check to you and you can
Yeah.
take it away from him,
Yeah.
representing a pair of 9s or a pair
Right.
of 10s.
It's Owen bet here.
Well, Owen flop top pair,
Yeah.
but Ryan is now caught up to him and passed him.
And actually, yeah, he's got 2 pairs. He's got king jack. River's an 8. All hearts on board, though. And Ryan plays it pretty passively. Check calls the flop, check calls the turn, and he's checked the river.
Well, that's passive Ryan, right?
Yeah,
You can label
jacks
him. You
are
said.
good. Kings and jacks.
Well, you did. You predicted right. You said I did say that I would. I think I think I did not raise with pocket aces once out of about 1,000 times the big line, and you said that I would take heat from the 2+2 crowd, and I am taking heat.
Yeah.
That's okay. I don't mind.
I told you we would. That's
You
why I was
said it.
trying to get you to say, please don't say you're not raising aces out of the
Well,
big
you know,
blind.
that's-
I've already been through this.
Honestly, that's part of our job. You know, we're here doing this live at the bike. David Tuck and Bart Hansen. Obviously, we're putting ourselves on the line. We're putting what we think, our opinion out there. And obviously, you know, when any commentator might go out there, you put yourselves out in line, leaving yourselves out there to be critiqued. And that's okay. I don't mind it.
Option player. Go ahead. Okay.
I just sometimes, and I'm never bothered by some of the criticisms that we have as we get to this hand here, Dave. We got it limped around again. Ace 6-3, couple of hearts. And it gets checked around. No one has an ace. The turn is a 6. And it doesn't look like anyone has a pair here. Ace 6, 3-6 on board. There we go. And the river is a king. And that gives Ryan in seat 1 the best hand. Sometimes it just bothers me a little bit.
King.
Like this gentleman exists on 2+2. It looks like he was the first time posting. I don't care if he says that he would rather see an expert commentary instead, but I almost would like to see somebody come to our defense on 2+2. This guy's obviously one of the first times he's watched the show before.
Bart,
You know,
we know nothing. Leave it alone. I know.
I won't get all
please.
Shirley on us.
Ooh, wow.
Yana,
Wow.
Shirley, whatever.
Now, Eurotrash, I actually respect Eurotrash. Now, it's interesting when I say we're talking about checking any hand or playing a hand for deception reasons.
Right.
If you're not doing it often enough, are you really deceiving anybody?
Yeah.
Well, there are some players, obviously, I play with that. If you do it once and you plant that seed in their head that it's possible you'll play it this way, it's in their head forever. Trust me.
We get a bet here by Eric with King 10.
I would doubt it would ever be effective online, obviously, because these
Yeah.
players, mix it up so well. I mean, please, my wife plays on my account online, so anybody that's taking notes from my play would be silly anyway. It doesn't make any sense.
Everyone checked the flop, and the river is a 9. Or, excuse me, there was a bet on the flop, and everyone called. Everyone checked the turn, and everyone's going to check the river here.
And David's still good, huh?
Yeah, David's good with a pair of 6s.
Hello.
Home run.
Anybody on base though?
No.
For Yankees? Home run. Have I?
So we got the buttons moved over to seat 7. The other thing, Dave, how about this? You would raise 1,000 out of 1,000 times with pocket aces in this game out of the big blind, right?
100%, of course.
Maybe that would clarify things.
To be honest with you, in this game here, I would raise with ace-king suited. I might even
Oh,
raise
yeah.
with king-queen suited
Yeah.
in the big blind because I'm getting 8-way action.
I think that's where people are getting a little bit
Right.
confused. We're talking about limit hold'em versus this particular game. This is
Right,
a
right,
small
right.
stakes, passive, loose game.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're going to raise with a lot of hands for value. Jack 8-3 here, a couple of hearts. And David had raised out of the blind with ace-jack offsuit, and he hit top pair, and he's going to bet. Ryan calls with king 10, and Greg is in there with ace-7. Wow. Or excuse me, seat 6 is in there with queen 10. He's got a gut shot. Picks up
Ryan's got the open-ended straight draw now.
But Eric picks up top pair here. He was chasing the gut shot. Ace-jack bets. King 10 calls. Queen 10 calls. The river's a deuce, and now Eric is good with the queen 10.
Okay.
And ace-jack is going to shut down here, Dave.
I'd like to see Eric bet if it gets checked to him.
Well, it's not like that river card is going to help anyone, right?
Right. Nice bet here. Good value bet on the river.
And he does get the call there by David. Those are the types of bets that are going to win money for you long term.
Of course.
Yeah.
And to address Lawrence Ning there, and he's saying, obviously, unpredictable play, and he's talking about this game. And obviously, when we're talking about unpredictable play, I'm trying to preface it with saying, if you're playing in a game with familiar foes, and it's a tough game,
Yeah.
in a game like this, and in the vast majority of limit games that you will play in, mixing it up or advertising or deceiving players'
Right.
perception is worthless because nobody is paying attention.
Right.
Just play it really technical, play it ABC,
Right.
and you'll be a winner. I'm just saying if you're playing, if you're playing 81-60 or you're playing 61-20 and you're playing with the same 8 players every single play, you better mix up your play.
King 10 here on the flop. It was limped around.
Nobody's got anything here. David's got a gut shot,
Nobody bets this.
and so does Owen.
Turn is a 4.
Well,
King 10-4, a couple hearts. Seat 4 is going to bet here, Owen. He's got ace high, and that's good enough. It
we
looks
do
like.
apologize for the slow card putting in. Our producer, who normally does it, Evelyn, is out, and then even her backup, Debbie, she's gone. So we've gone to our middle relief,
Yeah, middle relief.
and it's it's not working great.
well,
huh?
and it's limit, so it goes much
Yeah,
faster.
exactly.
Yeah. So we apologize for that.
No, the closed one is mine.
I don't bump.
So you have one. Here you go. Big blind player. We'll get you a bunch.
And actually, it's funny, and again, I'm not endorsing, just it brings a little humor into this conversation, that infamous hand with Chad Brown against Ted Forrest, the 9-deuce offsuit, I think that Chad Brown had aces in the small blind, did not re-raise pre-flop, tried to trap
That was
Ted Forrest.
Well, that was heads up, right?
Well, I don't know if it was heads up. I think there might have been 3-way action. Went for the check raise on the turn, but Forrest, I think he turned trips.
Yeah.
And he got 3-bet
Right,
on the
there you go.
turn.
I want to throw a hand at you, and anybody listening out there at
5-way
home.
action here.
I'm curious what everybody thinks about this one.
King, Queen 6.
Now we got kicker problems here. Seat 5, Sharik's got King Jack,
He's got the best hand, and he checks it.
but Rudy has got King Deuce.
Right. And seat
Both have
5
top pair,
just
but
check
big
calls, it looks like. Turns
Well,
a jack.
Now Sharik's got 2 pair. He's got King Jack, and seat 8 has King Deuce still.
And the button is in there with
Wow.
ace 6 of diamonds.
And the Deuce comes. They both have 2 pair,
Wow.
and they're all checking it.
Well, yeah, King Jack checks, and now Rudy bets with King Deuce.
Let's see if Sharik
Well, it's a third spade. It might have scared some people.
can't always be scared of this. And is Sharik just going to call? He's
Yeah,
just
he's
going to
gonna call. And King Jack is good here. versus King Deuce.
Yeah, they both make their 2 pair.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll throw this at you.
Sir.
What happens if you get a pretty good poker player, okay?
Yeah,
A pretty good poker player, but who's a little overly aggressive, right?
right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Now, if you let them bet it the whole time, they'll bet the whole time. But if you show any strength, they get away from it. And they raise on the button and you're in the big blind. And everybody else is out. Might you smooth call to induce a
Yeah,
bluff
well,
with races?
I think that's
Okay.
it's different. That's different, obviously.
Well, that's mixing up your play.
Yeah, no,
Obviously, that's knowing your opponent
Yeah.
and mixing up your play.
that is different. Absolutely, absolutely.
You know, 'cause somebody might try
I think
to
what
steal.
the whole outcry is that it's almost a situation that never happens, because usually in a tough 81-60 game, you're not going to be in there with 7 players.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah, I'm going to raise with my aces 7 ways out of the big blind.
Right,
Yes,
right.
always. But like you said, like against a tough player, you actually might play that as a slow play.
Yeah, you might. I mean,
You might not want to give away your hand.
and once again, in limit hold'em,
Yeah.
90% of the time, I don't like the slow play.
Right.
But I've
right.
got to. You have to slow play once in a while, so
Right.
somebody respects the fact that you might check raise.
It's like
Because then
bringing-
every time you check, they'll always bet.
It's like you might bring in a hand with 8-9 suited under the gun, 1 out of 1,000 with the same players in an 80
Right.
game.
Well, don't say 1 out of 1,000 because that's everything. It might be 1 out of 100, but
Right.
obviously that's
Right.
the case. Ryan has moved to seat 3, and I believe Sun is gone. We've lost our good Sun.
Pocket queens for seat 6 here. He's in the big blind. So I would probably raise here, almost definitely, on this type of table. Raise for value. And actually, it's in seats.
And he does.
It does. There we go. There we go. And he's going to get a bunch of callers with inferior hands. 10 deuce of diamonds in the small line. Pocket 6s, queens, 10 deuce, and ace 7. And just like that, the ace comes off. Ace 10 9. Eric's going to bet with queens. And Rudy is going to raise.
I like the bet by Eric. He wants to see where he's at, you know? But this is one of those cases.
Son's going to call 2 bets cold with pocket 6s here. Again, like I said, one of those clear-cut
That's actually
mistakes.
Ryan now, but yeah.
Ryan.
Well, that's passive Ryan sitting from
Yeah.
move 1 to seat 3 now.
And look at this. He spikes a non-clubbed 6 on the turn.
Well, see, once again, proving to everybody that we know nothing.
Right. Rudy bets here with the weak ace. And, yeah, Ryan's going to raise with his set of 6s that he catches on the turn, his 2-outer.
Eric quickly folds his queens.
And
this is a
Rudy
case where-
is drawing dead.
Yeah, this is a case where if you're Rudy, you can throw your hand away. He won't, but you can.
Right. Especially against a player like Ryan, right, who's just been calling all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's playing the player.
Yeah. River's a king. He checks blind.
Now
Ryan
there's almost,
bets.
ace 7. It's not even a good ace.
King of spades on the river. And the set of 6s is going to take it down. There you go. Well, and it's interesting, like I said, you almost never have odds to peel off for a set, especially when you're going to get raised, when you have to call a double-sized bet. But it just brings it up there if you look at that board. Because sometimes you say in no limit, you actually might have the implied odds to hit a set, or
Right.
you might call if you're really deep stacked. But you want to have you actually
Six of
want to
clubs.
have the 6 of clubs in your hand. And he doesn't.
Yeah, you need the 6 clubs in your
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah.
Because then you're going for 2 outs. One of the outs might not even be good.
Right.
And one thing I'll say is I really do welcome the
Yeah.
criticism. I know both of us do. We welcome the criticism from 2+2 or from anybody. I mean, that's what's great about poker. What I love about poker so much is that you can sit with your friends, with strangers, other poker players, and debate and talk and argue
Right.
about different poker hands and the way to play them.
We have 4-way action here.
And all that can do is make you a better poker player.
Right. And Rudy raised with ace-king of hearts. The flop got checked.
I checked.
Wow.
And now Ryan has spiked a full house on the turn. So he's got 2 sets now, Dave, back-to-back.
Yeah, and he keeps hitting him on the turn.
Right. Well, this time no one bet on the
Well,
flop.
nobody's gotten it. I mean, this is... Greg has turned and opened straight draw, but with a paired board out there, you can't go for it.
No,
he's
he is
for
going
it
to call. It is a rainbow board. He
Yeah, but
does
there's
make
two
the
queens
call.
out there, so if somebody has a queen and he happens to have, say,
Oh, absolutely.
if
You don't
somebody
know-
if somebody has queen jack here and
Yeah.
the jack peels off,
Yeah.
you know, you're dead. And in this case, it's actually
And
drawing.
you don't know about the two people behind you that might have been slow playing a queen, where you have to catch this for another raise on the turn to chase your draw. And the river's a deuce. And I love it when my player mucks before I get to bet on the river. That's
Well, unless you have
always
the
nice.
nuts, you kind of want to bet and get paid. Huh? But once again, I reiterate, we welcome the criticism. It can only make us better at our job and better at poker. And hopefully, when we discuss hands and stuff, it makes you a better poker player. And if you have any questions privately that you want to ask me or Bart, feel free to send a private message to us. Bart's name is Bart Hansen on 2+2, and mine is Friar Tuck. Or you can email us at liveatthebike.com.
5 players.
We have five-way action here. Jack 8-9.
Owen's got an open-ended straight draw here. He's got a king 10.
Raise.
The nice thing about this king 10 is if a queen comes, he actually has the higher end of it because he has the king.
Now, so Owen's bet with the king 10, and seat 5 has raised with queen 5. Is that correct? Wow.
Well, he's mixing up his play a little bit. At this table, I don't advocate mixing up your play.
And look at this. He turns a straight.
And
with
this is
queen
exactly what I was
5.
talking about. They both made a straight here.
Well, king 10
No, I'm
actually
sorry.
does
He
not have a
hasn't. I
straight
apologize.
yet.
I thought it was, for some reason, I thought he had a straight.
Sharik bets here. He raised with queen 5 on the flop, and he got rewarded. He picked a 10 up on the turn.
Yeah, he raised with the gut shot and got it.
Yeah. Now,
I
if a
obviously-
queen comes, Owen has the winning hand. He has that.
I obviously read that wrong.
Now, the river's an ace of hearts. And look at this. Sharik just checks it down when the third heart comes. A lot of people, Dave, I mean, are you always scared that you're going to get check raised on
Yeah.
the river when the third flush card comes?
You've got to bet that.
Yeah. Well,
And the one thing that's amazing about poker is, I think 99 out of 100 times, the answer to almost any question is, it depends.
right.
It drives my wife crazy because she'll ask me a question and she'll be like, oh, I was playing this hand online, and I did this and I did this, and she goes, well, what should I do? And I'll go, well, it depends, you know. Who raised you? What is he like? What was he doing? And so forth.
Raise.
Seat 6 is going to raise here.
A close-up there of the Lakers hat.
Seat 6 has got pocket 6s. We got a call by Jack 10 of hearts. Jack 8 of clubs is in there, and deuce 6 of clubs. Queen 9-5. So Jack 10 has an open-ended straight draw. Looks like 6s are still good here. And Eric in seat 6 bets with his 6s. Greg is going to call.
This is one of those cases where you might want to raise with your draw rather than just smooth call.
And Rudy calls with Jack 8. He's got a gut shot. Turns at 3. 6s are still good. He shuts down now, and everybody checks. And the river's a 4. And 6s are good.
Check around. Whoever 6s.
And one thing that most really good limit hold'em players or any real poker players have in common is they'll bet, like in that case, they'll bet their pocket 6s until they see some resistance, until they feel resistance. Assume you're ahead unless somebody tells you otherwise,
Yeah.
or you feel it.
Now, one of the other things about limit hold'em, as I saw somebody posted up, I think it was CW Swiggy on 2+2, about when Jennifer Harmon said that she thinks sometimes the 2 to 4,000 game is looser than a 2-4 game.
Of course.
Actually, in limit hold'em, some of the toughest games are at those mid-limit levels from 2040 to 8160, kind of that Bob Chiffon area of specialty. Of,
I mean, I'll tell you, for a
expertise.
while here, the 10-20 game here I thought was tougher
Yeah.
than the 20-40 game.
Yeah. So as you go up, it actually might play like a smaller limit game.
You never know. It doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily. I mean, we saw the 400-800 game that with Jerry
Right.
Buss and Twan Lee and all those guys. Maybe what was it? About a month ago, 6 weeks ago. That game was incredibly loose.
Queen 9 here on the flop. Rudy raised pre-flop, and he's going to bet with the ace-jack. And Eric's going to check raise him with 3 queens here right off the bat. And look at this. Rudy's going to 3-bet with the ace-jack.
Rudy loves to, when he raises pre-flop. He just does not get away from hand.
turns a club,
He's got a jack of clubs in his hands.
and I think that, did Eric just check call there on the turn? I think he did.
He put him on clubs.
Yeah. And the river's an 8, and 3 queens are good.
Check queen.
And look at this. Rudy just gives up.
10.
Queen 10.
Queen is good.
Yeah, Rudy, we've seen Rudy do that a lot of times. He'll have ace king or ace queen or ace jack. He'll miss the flop, and instead of losing just what he lost pre-flop on that, he'll lose another 4 bets on it.
And against him, I would actually just 4-bet it from up front.
You might, well, yeah.
I mean, Eric just actually just called, and then maybe, the club actually kind of scared him. But I just jammed that up at that point. Check raising there with 3 queens, okay. Now he 3-bets. Well, he can do that with any number of hands, including a lot of the times with nothing, apparently. Right.
And then turn comes out of club. I mean, he ended up betting it anyway, so.
Yeah.
And obviously, you guys at home are giving us criticism, and we're obviously critiquing the players we're seeing play tonight. But a lot of these players, like we were saying, are here just for a good time. Nothing wrong with that. They're obviously just here to blow off a little steam and some money and have a good time.
We're heads up, the big blind against the small blind, and Ryan's got pocket kings, and he raises pre-flop in the big blind. And he's going to bet. And this is actually a pet peeve of mine, because I think that Ryan chopped before Dave. And I think Eric said, do you want to chop? And Ryan was like, no, not this time, which is such BS.
Yeah. That's
That's
pretty much a clown move.
When we're talking about chopping in the blinds, we're talking about not seeing the flop to reduce the collection, where in this game it actually makes a lot of sense.
So now we'll give Ryan a new label, Ryan the Passive Clown.
Yeah, because in this game you're taking 4 off the top for the rake, plus 1 for the jackpot.
Well, I don't know.
You chop it and you only take $1 instead.
Yeah.
And I think he did before, but I guess he does it with his good hands, which is just absolute garbage.
Next time you got to do it, you look at him and you go, do you want to chop? And when he says, yeah, you go, okay, I raise. Because that kind of tells you, okay, he's got crap.
Yeah. See, 2 is raised here. He's got king 9 of spades.
Saturday and Sunday, but
3 players.
You got 3-way action.
last night I called my boss and said, hey, take the day off.
Raggy flop, 6-4-4.
Same old shit. Now I'm losing. I cashed out 6 tracks. 6 tracks? Yeah, and this.
Got a bet and a call. Turns an ace, and now Owen has the best hand. He checks it from up front.
Hey, don't let that
And actually,
I'm still stuck.
C2 is going to bet again, and Owen just check calls with the ace. So Eric's just firing off aggressively.
Well, if this flop misses everybody, I
Ace
think
of
Eric,
clubs on the turn, and the river is a
the river
queen.
misses everybody.
Owen checks.
Sometimes it runs that way.
No one's going to turn over the ace-7, and his hand is.
Oh, I didn't even see the turn yet. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Okay.
Owen just check called the turn there with the ace.
Now, we put a couple of chip counts up here, but obviously chip counts, to me, in limit hold'em, chip counts are not nearly as important.
Right.
I don't really care. You know what I mean? As long as I have enough money in front of me, I don't care if you have $20,000 in front of you. It doesn't mean anything to me. You can't intimidate me by it because it's not, it's not no limit. You can't move it all in.
You too?
Oh, you've been there, huh?
Yeah, I saw you over there.
Must be the same country club Marcus Stewart.
Familiar.
Yeah, I didn't go to that one, but I have been to one.
You didn't let her out for poker games. It was Tupperware parties.
What's that?
Martha Stewart. She didn't get out for poker. She got out for Tupperware.
One thing interesting about, obviously Bart and I, these are our opinions when we give them to you, and not necessarily all correct, just our opinions. Flop here is 10-6-3 rainbow. David's got top pair. He's going to bet it.
People in their job when
C3 is going to call here. Ryan calls with his pair sevens,
We're not beating her up.
and it gets heads up
They
here.
don't want the job. They just want the
King of clubs on the turn.
You hear me?
David continues to bet,
They don't want the job. They just want the cash.
and Ryan is thinking about it.
she's making up jobs as each one gets out.
Who's up?
And Ryan's going to call.
Detroit, Pittsburgh.
And the rivers, another 3. David continues to bet. I like the bet here. I really do. You can't just instantly be scared of a king. Especially the way Ryan plays. Ryan's been calling down the whole way, and I'm really surprised Ryan actually let it go. Wow. David takes it down. I mean, that only says that Ryan was calling for his 2-outer, which really doesn't make any sense at all. what I was saying, obviously, is Bart and I, we obviously have our opinions, and they're formulated, by a lot of reading, but more so by experience. Obviously, both of us have been playing. I, for one, have probably played, I don't even know how many thousands and thousands of hours of Limit Hold'em, and these are the opinions that I've come up with. Whether they're right or wrong are obviously up to you. But I do love talking about it. I guess good thing that I'm a commentator then, huh? Seat 9's going to raise here. David's going to raise it up. Haven't seen his hand yet. See if he puts it over the window. Seat 9, we're waiting on his hand. And the flop is King Jack 3, a couple of diamonds here. Seat 6, that's Eric Batelli. He's got a Jack 9. And interestingly here, seat 9, David has got Ace 10 of diamonds. Wow. He flops the gut shot straight draw, the nut flush draw, and he turns the Ace of Hearts, so now he's got the top pair.
Let's see. That's only 8 champ.
And he's going to bet it, and Eric's going to throw it away. David takes it down. Once again, we are live at the bike. We're watching Limit Hold'em. Limits are 8 and 16. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hansen. And we are live from the Bicycle Casino in Bell Gardens, only about 10 miles south of Los Angeles. We've got our Poker October tournament going on right now. Today's tournament was Stud High Low.
Our favorite.
Is that your favorite tournament?
It's a game that Dave and I frequently play.
Yeah, I do like the game.
And we're some of the youngest players of the game.
Yeah. Actually, one of the elderly gentlemen got very upset at me today because I slow played my 6-high straight.
Elderly used loosely, you mean like mega elderly.
Yeah. I thought I might give him a heart attack. I was scared.
Seat 5 is raised here, Ace King suited, and everyone's going to come in here. Well, it looks like we got 4-way action. So 8 bets in there. All clubs, Ace 10, 9. And it looks like David's the only one with the club. And he's got a pair, Seat 9, Jack 9. But Sharik's hit top pair. And he bets. And you got to think that David, just by what we've seen, he's going to call. He is. And we're heads up. Chasing that club draw that you don't know is good. The turn is a 5.
Well, he's got the Jack of Clubs also.
So chasing this club draw that he doesn't know is good.
That's true.
Yeah. And the river is a deuce.
Come on, bet it, Sharig. There you go.
He's going to bet it again. And he gets a call. There you go, Dave. A value bet once again.
If you were to write down how many times a bet on the river gets called and you could win the pot, it'd be amazing how much money you'd make.
Oh, absolutely. I'm amazed when some people don't bet the river at the end. It's amazing to me.
So I want to throw this hand at you, actually. It was very interesting. Let's say we had a player, we had Crazy Man before me, okay, and he was betting his apparent 2-pair. I had a 6-high straight on 5th Street, and I had a rough 7 behind me and a rough 8 behind him. So I just smooth called to keep them in, hoping they would make their weak low, a 7 low or 8 low, because I already had a 6 low.
Yeah.
And they both got mad at me.
Yeah.
They both couldn't believe. How could you do that? What if we beat your low? I go, what, you got a 64 low? Or a better 65 low?
We've got a raise here by Seat 6. He's got Ace-Queen offsuit on the button. And we're going to see 5-way action. Pocket 4s, pocket 3s, Jack 10 and King Queen. And Jack 10 flopped 3 10s, but we get a set of 4, so a full house over trips.
Wow, and this is where you get some action here.
Ryan, he's got the full house in Seat 3. And Jack 10 from Seat 5, Sharif.
And this is why you don't slow play.
And everyone checks it. Now the turn's a deuce. Now Sharik's picked up a flush draw with trip 10.
Right, flush draw obviously no good.
Ryan bets. Oh, and Sharik just calls? In Seat 5?
Amazing.
Are you kidding me?
Okay, 2 players.
All right, and let's see the river. The river's a queen. Pocket 4's bets.
I mean, is he going to raise now?
Yeah, he raises now. 3 bet him, Ryan.
I mean, it took a while for all the money to go in the pot.
Yeah.
And this is the reason why you don't slow play, especially in Limit Hold'em. Because in no limit, you can get all your money in on the river.
Right.
In limit, whatever bets you give up on the flop.
He just calls, Dave. He just calls.
Wow. Put him on maybe queen 10 or pocket queens.
That's unbelievable. I mean, and the way that I would have played that,
Bet.
I would have bet my fours on the flop. Okay, the guy with Jack 10, he calls. Then you go and you do that, say, reverse check raise on the turn where you know somebody's going to raise you with the 10. You bet again on the turn. Now he raises. Now you 3-bet him.
Right.
And you would have made so much more money on the hand.
And nobody
I
ever
mean,
believes you, too, if you bet it.
Yeah. Betting your hands is usually the way to go in these games.
Well, limit hold'em, if you give up those bets,
Yeah.
it's just hard to make them up. You know, you almost have to get 3-bet on the river to make up for not getting any money on the...
Yeah.
For not getting those bets to the flop.
2 players.
We got heads-up action here, it looks like, between the blinds, and I think they're just going to chop it up. And look at this, the big blinds get pocket aces. Oh, man.
You didn't like the queen, huh?
And he's going to show them. There you go.
You wish it was a jack. Yeah. Really?
And obviously, this is kind of like, I'm having fun tonight. This is kind of like, I don't believe this show is going to the Poker Channel in England, which is why we have the freedom to really respond
Yeah.
to a lot of the comments on 2+2. And
We've had so many good shows in the last couple weeks
Yeah.
that we have a backlog of shows that we could send to England now.
And I love
Yeah.
the fact that, I mean, 2+2 is our lifeblood. I mean, to me, they're our best fans.
Yeah.
I love the fact that they're here because, you know, they give us some credence, the fact that we can actually know that some people are watching us. And,
We got a raise here by seat 4, pocket aces. And it looks like he's going to take it
Yeah.
down.
And something that
Garland.
Garland was just talking about in terms of drawing to something when the board is paired, drawing to a flush when the board is paired, or drawing to a straight when the board is paired, or drawing to a straight even when there's like a 2 flush on the board. Obviously, you can do it in a multi-way pot. You know, you just got to be able to put, you know, if one guy has top pair,
Yeah.
or one guy has trips, you've got to start thinking of what these other guys might have. And we have a chip count, but to me, chip counts are kind of useless in a limit game. So I'm just going to continue talking. I just hate, me personally, I just hate drawing to something that I can't even hit hard. You know, if I actually get lucky enough to hit my hand, I want to be able to raise with the freedom knowing that I have the winning hand. If I'm still scared, though, that the guy's got a full house, then I'm like, oh, shoot.
Ryan's got an ace here, and he's going to, or excuse me, seat 7 there's got an ace. He's going to bet, and he's going to take it down.
Obviously,
Now-
there are exceptions to that.
Right. And I think that, again, part of the fun tonight is where we've kind of been making comments. People are like, are you talking about this specific game, or are you talking about in general? Now, on that time, I think that particular case, that guy on the turn had an open-ended straight draw. It was a paired board. But there were people behind him.
Yeah.
And the reason why I wouldn't call there especially, too, is that you've got the people behind you that are so apt to slow play. I don't want to call another big bet when the pot was relatively small, because in that case, the flop was actually checked around.
Yeah.
So it's... And like you said, depending on what the cards are, if it's a queen that's paired and you're chasing an open-ended straight draw to the jack, well, you don't know if it's good if it gets there.
Because
Like
Queen
you said.
Jack, right? You got to start
Right.
thinking of the hands
Right.
your opponent might play. Queen Jack is a hand that people play.
Right.
Jack 10 is a hand people play. If the board is paired, you know, if the board is Queen 3-3, and the turn is a 10, and you have Jack 9.
Right.
Okay, I'm not that scared that my opponent has King 3. You know, and
Right.
I'm drawing dead there. That's a fine board to go for if the pot's big enough.
We have a raise here on the button by Eric and a 3-bet by Ryan out of the blind with ace-jack of clubs. 7-3-4. And that's not a jack on the flop, it's a 7. So 7-3-4, and the turn is a 4. So no one has anything, and it gets checked down. The river is an 8. So ace high is good here. And no one ever bet here. I got to say, part of the reason why I would 3-bet there, I mean, you can definitely do that out of the small blind with ace jack, because you figure, I mean, I've done that with ace 9 before, Dave, if you think you have the best hand and the guy on the button might be raising you with anything, but I think you got to take control of the hand and
Well,
bet.
you can represent the pair there,
Yeah.
overpair.
Yeah.
Clearly. We saw earlier, actually, Owen, player in seat 4, he had 9-8. The board was paired with 10s.
Right.
And then when he got there on the straight with a jack, the other
Yeah.
player had Jack 10. And in
Yeah.
that case, you've got to be really careful because First of all, the pot's not big enough to go for it. Second of all, Jack 10 is a hand people play.
Okay, big blind. Option. 3 players. Wait.
We got Ace King here versus Ace Queen. And Sharik is in there with Jack 9, and he's got 2 pair.
Yep, top 2 pair. Turn is a 7.
Another time we're going for overcards is not really working.
Takes it down.
And it's funny, when I was asking you who Ed Miller was, it seems like everybody and their mother has written a poker book these days. And obviously we get a lot of books in the mail, and we get them, and we get to read them. And I think I literally read a new poker book once a week. So I'll have to get my hands on that Ed Miller book. Hopefully Ed's listening. Maybe he can send me one.
It's going to get chopped around here to the blinds.
Anybody knows me, knows I'm cheap. I don't like to pay for it.
You leave it this. I need 2. You were the favorite.
I actually like the fact that it seems like everyone's coming out of the woodwork to put their 2 cents into this game, because a lot of people that watch the show religiously are probably either internet pros or semi-pros, and a lot of the money that they make, or a lot of the multi-tabling they do is in limit games.
I would assume
so
so,
everyone's
yeah.
got,
Oh, that's great.
pretty
Hey.
strong opinions on.
Like I said, I mean, I don't know any player in the world. Barry Greenstein will admit it. I had an hour-long conversation with him one night, and there's nobody in the world that can't learn.
Yeah.
Nobody. Including you, Bart. But that's what's great. That's what's great about poker.
Well, I would also wonder if you said to Barry Greenstein, even in a low limit game. I mean, he did once play low limit games. Do all of his ideas line up with what all of Ed Miller writes in his book in small
Well,
stakes
I mean,
limits?
In the end, the books are great, but you've got to get out there and get some experience, whether it's on the internet or in a real brick and mortar casino, and make your own opinions. Half the time I like to read these books is because I like to know what other people are thinking. Have you ever sat down at a book and have you ever sat down at a table and go, "Oh, you read that in Sklansky's book, didn't you?" You can almost see the guy thinking that way. Button is in seat 5 here. Small blind is $4. Big blind is $8. That's 2 chip $4 chip format here. We're playing 8-16 limit.
4
We
players.
have a limped pot. 9-6-5, couple of hearts on board, and it looks like seat number 5 has got King 9, and he's going to bet from the button. Owen's going to call with overcards. The turn is a 10, so King 9 against King Jack now,
Yeah, I mean, Owen's got the gut shot as well.
and the button continues to bet. I like the bet. 10 on the turn, 10 of diamonds on the turn, and yeah, Owen's going to call.
Well, Owen's convinced himself now because the queen gives him more outs.
The river's a 4. Like you said, mistake begets mistake.
Yeah.
And again, Sharik, shuts down when the third heart comes there at the end.
Yeah, I just don't like. I mean, the king jack, a board like that. Why are you calling? It's 9-6-5. You have king jack offsuit. I mean, are you sure your opponent doesn't have jack 9 or king 9?
Yeah.
And in this case, Sharik actually had king 9, so you're only drawing the 3 outs. The 10 keeps you in longer, and you end up losing another. Basically lose 1 small bet and 1 big bet.
That's why we said you had a lot of ways.
Yep. When the hard came, I went to see if I had the flush.
Once again, if you have any questions or comments for us, you can email us at live@thebike.com.
Well, there seems to be, again, another point where some people are commenting on about the guy that limped in Queen Jack on the cutoff. I disagree with you. I actually was the one that said that I would raise that hand.
Well, I said it's-
I don't see how limping in there is the best play in the cutoff on a table like this. But
on a table like this.
on a table like this,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The blinds are going to check it down. I just think that it's, the chances that of course, the blinds are going to fold, where this game is probably not that much, but just the fact that you might actually have a best hand. Now, you might turn it around and say, well, if the guy has king deuce or king three and he's ahead, you're in position on the guy. You can outplay him.
Clearly, you can outplay him.
Yeah.
No, in a game like this, generally speaking, these guys are pretty much checking when they don't have it and betting when they do
And
have it.
Sharik in seat 5 limped with queen jack on the cutoff,
Right.
and I didn't like the play.
Yeah, in a game like this, obviously, it probably is the best play to raise with queen jack in the cutoff seat.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, you and I rarely playing games like this. Well, I guess actually the 20 game is like this sometimes, isn't it?
Sometimes, yeah.
The few times we've had the 20 game actually on the show, I think you and I were both amazed at how bad the play was.
It was.
It kind of like built my confidence up. I was like, oh, I got to go out there and play in this game. Man.
Pot is limped around here. Got a 10-9-3, a couple hearts. Now Sharik has got a pair and a flush draw.
Yeah, Greg there's got top pair, and he's going to raise it up.
Actually, Greg, yeah, there you go. You get the raise there by seat 7 with the queen 10. Pretty straightforward so far.
Yeah, protecting top pair.
Turn is an ace. Now Greg picks up a flush draw. And it goes check, check. And the river is a flush card. And now I think Sharik bet the river. So I'm sure that Greg is going to raise here. He's got the nut flush.
Well, I mean, Greg has induced a bluff.
And he is going to raise.
And Sharik throws it away.
Yeah.
Raise it.
Well, I mean, why would he check behind him on the turn? Is he scared that he's got ace part of the flop and he
Either
might
that
get
or-
check raised on the turn?
You know, either that or you put Sharik on nothing and you're inducing a bluff.
You gotta tell him to see how much money.
Yeah, but I mean, your hand, though, I mean, a jack, a queen, or a king that's not a club can kill your hand. I don't know
course.
why you wouldn't put money there on the turn.
Right, no, I mean, to be honest with you, I probably would have betted as well. Just trying to get inside the mind of Greg. It's not an easy thing. I mean, generally speaking, if I'm playing in a game where there's a bunch of calling stations, right,
Yeah,
and I have an above-average hand in position, I'm going to raise and make them pay for it.
absolutely. Looks
Take
like,
advantage of their terrible pre-flop play.
Looks like Ryan raised pre-flop with king, queen, and the flop comes king, jack, queen. He's got top 2,
Raise.
and actually it was Eric that raised in seat 6, and now Ryan's going to check raise the flop, and Eric gets away from it. There you go.
Now, this is the kind of play, like Eric raising with 3-5 of clubs in a limit hold'em. I just don't think it has that much value.
Especially in a game where you're going to get a lot of callers.
Right. In no limit hold'em,
Right.
it has some value.
Yeah.
Occasionally.
But you got to think, though, with the 5-3, I mean, you have to... obviously, anytime you're raising from a late position, there's always a chance that you're going to steal the blinds. But you've got to look at what type of table you're at.
Right.
You know?
I mean, granted, you can outplay players. I mean, in the sense of, if only the big blind calls you,
Right.
and he misses his flop and he checks to you, you can bet, not even looking at your hand,
Right.
and take it away, probably more often than not.
Pot is limped around here.
6 players.
6-way action. Ace, 3, queen, couple spades. Everybody checks. Turns a 3. Sharik has got an ace, and so does Owen. Now, Owen usually bets out on top pair. He didn't on the flop, and now he bets. Sharik's going to call. Sharik's in he's in kicker trouble here.
Yeah, he's going to need a jack, a queen, a 3, an ace, or a king.
And the river is an 8. That's no help. Ace 10 bets again. And gets a call. And
Actually, he's not in kicker problems. What are you talking about? They both have aces and 3s, the queen kicker.
you're right there. They're
Yeah,
board
yeah.
paired in the turn.
I got mixed up
Pick that
myself.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it going, wait a second, a jack is good. Why isn't a queen?
Yeah, right. The aces and 3s with a queen kicker there.
Once again, we are live, unscripted, unedited, so obviously sometimes we misread the board real quick.
Especially in a limit hold'em game where there's
Yeah.
so many cards to look at.
And I think some of our debates that we're having with some of these players on some of the players on 2+2 stems from the fact that a lot of the things we're talking about is not necessarily geared toward this game in particular,
Right.
but geared toward a different game.
Sharik has gotten up from the table here in seat 5 and left.
Only got about 20 minutes left in tonight's webcast. We're going to try to put in one limit hold'em a night a week.
Seat 8 race here. King 10 offsuit, and Ace King is going to 3-bet here.
I love the
in seat 2.
3-bet here. And in this case, it's even better. He's going to isolate against the King 10. He's got him dominated.
Yep. Jack 7-6, couple hearts.
And he's got to follow through with this and bet it. There you go.
That's quite the hat that Rudy's wearing, isn't it?
Yeah. Definitely quite the hat.
And Eric the Muskrat takes it down in seat 2.
I mean, I know when you play limit hold'em. I mean, as for myself, generally I don't like to open limp almost with anything.
No,
My
not usually.
basic philosophy is, I play very few hands, and the ones I play hard.
Yeah. Open limping in late position.
No, I mean, but that pretty much with anything. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, it's like if I'm going to play a hand, if this hand is worth playing, well, then it's worth raising with, generally speaking. Button is in seat 4.
That's why it's kind of a reverse thing where sometimes if you want to get in cheap with a suited connector or a small pocket pair from out back, well, at that point you're not going to call because you don't have callers because you're opening. So you're either going to raise or fold.
Yeah.
It's like a case where if you're 3 or 4 off from the button, are you going to play pocket deuces or pocket threes? Well, if you are, you're going to raise, right?
Yeah.
We got ace 9-3 here, a couple.
Because you're not
spades.
playing it to hit the set.
No. Seat 7 has bet here with the ace, and Rudy has raised. He's got a pair and a flush draw.
Yeah, nice flop for Rudy.
And there's the flush on the turn. 2 of spades. Greg checks, Rudy bets.
Yeah, if you're Greg here, there's not much you can beat. You got to look at the board and go, okay, if the guy had a spade, he had me beat. And if the guy doesn't have that, he's got a bigger ace than me.
River's a 5.
And he got himself in trouble here because now he's got a wheel.
Yep, he made a straight at the end.
And he's going to be forced to pay off Rudy.
Rudy bets. Greg calls. Flush
And there's
is good.
sometimes you got to look at a board and you go, okay, if the guy was raising with a flush draw, then he got there.
Yeah.
If he wasn't raising with a flush draw, then he has a bigger ace than mine. There's no way my ace 4 can be good.
Right.
Big blind.
Right away. It's right on the turn. Nailed on it. Good hand.
Button is in seat 6.
We chop.
No, I'm raising. I got cards. You want to chop?
Yeah, we chop.
Chop too.
And Owen is going to raise here. He's got king jack of hearts.
All right, maybe Buddy coming. I'm gonna call blind.
And there you go. Seat 8's going to call blind. Can't see what he's got king 3 offsuit. He's dominated. And here we go. He's flop top pair. Let's see if he check raises. He is. Now let's see what Owen does.
He's doing them on both sides of the table.
Owen's going to 3-bet. Sometimes I might call here and then raise on the turn when the bet gets bigger, Dave,
Right.
with the king jack.
One over here behind the chair.
So Owen 3-bets now.
I raised the bet.
And Rudy calls. Turn is an 8. And I'll tell you why.
3 clubs out there now.
I'll tell you why I do that sometimes. And the river is an ace.
Eric,
Check.
Check, check.
The
He
reason
checks it.
Yeah, everyone checks. Wow. Well, it's an ace on the river.
Doesn't matter.
King jack is good. Now, the reason why I will sometimes do that, Dave, is because against a crap...
Not check raise, mean you're in position.
When I'm in position and
Okay.
someone check raised me and I have something as good as, say, king, queen, king, jack, or ace, king, whatever I think is the best hand, or an overpair,
Right.
or maybe even a set here,
And it's heads up.
somebody who's crafty might make that play with pocket 9s, or even with ace 5. And if you 3-bet them there at the flop, they might throw it away.
Right.
Now you're forcing them to bet the turn, and now you're going to raise it up a big bet. And actually, sometimes it might get them so involved that they might stick to the end.
Yeah, no,
first
definitely,
hand.
definitely.
You know?
Without a doubt. It's not a bad play at all.
I actually really love to do that against people who habitually check raise.
I actually made that play on Hashem. I thought I was going to get fired right on the spot. Hashem is the COO of the Bicycle Casino, and we were playing 20-40 or 30, actually 30-60. And I had pocket aces on the button, and he had tens, and it was all babies.
Right.
So he came out and bet.
Yeah.
He actually came out and bet it.
Yeah.
And the flop was like deuce, deuce, six. He bet it. I raised him. He 3-bet it.
Well, there you go. That's
so
an
I
obvious
smooth called
call.
him.
Yeah.
The turn came out like a 9 or something.
Right.
He bet it, then I raised him.
Some people will actually just smooth call on the flop and then raise, but you actually raised. He 3-bet, and you.
Well, I just didn't think the way we play. If I had smooth called him, it just didn't seem believable.
Right.
It's a short hit. Wait, I raised pre-flop, and I'm not going to raise him. I mean, it was almost like he bet into me, hoping I'd raise so he could 3-bet.
Looks like the Angels are just about to wrap up the series there, Dave.
Really? What's the score?
5-3 with 1 out left.
Rockin'.
Pot is limped around pre-flop. Jack 7-6.
Well, Eric Miller in seat 2 has got top pair.
And he bets the King Jack. Ryan calls with Ace 3.
Well, by the time you hear this, the Angels will hopefully have wrapped it up already.
And Owen calls with Ace Deuce. Wow. David's in there with 10-6.
I mean, Ace Deuce, what are you hoping to hit there on the turn?
How about Ace 3? Ace Deuce at least got backdoor spades, right?
I mean, are you just hoping to hit an ace? Is that it? And then hope it's good?
River's a 7. King Jack is good here.
Yeah, very good.
He checks it down at the end.
And obviously, we're being critical of these players, but obviously these players are here. They're just recreational poker players.
Right.
Here to have a good time. Interesting post from 8 the Saint. He's a stranger. He's only posted twice on 2+2. Hopefully he'll be a regular there. Talking about the kinds of tells you are looking for in a game like this. And to be honest with you, I mean, I think this game pretty much
plays itself?
Yeah, I mean, in a weird way. I mean, I guess you can look for classic tells. Somebody acting strong probably means weak. Acting weak probably means strong. Most players are checking their big hands.
Well, we have an email here from Eric Viridian from Polyethylene Sales. He says, is there a live chat forum to discuss the plays of the current game? Of course there is. You can go to 2plus2.com, spelled out, click on forums, click on World Poker Tour and other televised tournaments, the official Live at the Bike thread for October 10th. So 2plus2.com and do a search on Live at the Bike. That will get you there in the forums section.
Well, this is a raised pot, 5 ways. So it's an $80 pot to the flop here.
And we're heads up here. King 7 against Jack 10 of clubs. And Owen actually bet in with the flush draw on the flop, and Rudy just called. And it goes check, check. Rudy did not bet the turn. And now Owen has missed everything. And now Rudy bets. I mean, at that point, do you think you would bet there the turn? I mean, you have top pair. The guy's checking to you.
On the turn, you mean?
Yeah, on the turn. You kind of let a reverse card, a free card come off for the guy.
Generally speaking, if I have top pair and it's checked to me, I'm going to bet. Generally. Especially
and then
heads
if something
up.
happens, you'll reevaluate.
Yeah, exactly. Especially heads up. If somebody raises me, then I'll figure it out after that.
Right.
I just don't want to give away a free card.
We always have that live chat on 2plus2, if you want to call it. It's more of a posting board that we respond to. 2plus2.com.
And here it is. Man on second, Gary Sheffield up. 5-3 Angels. 2 outs, 1-0 count.
We have 3-way action.
Frankie Rodriguez. Oh.
Ace 8-6 here on the flop.
Delivers. Oh, foul ball. 1-1. I'm going to turn the poker commentary over to Bart for a second while I watch this final out.
Turn is an 8. Now Eric bets with pocket 7s. And it looks like he's going to take it down. Looks like we got about 10 minutes left in the show. Want to thank everyone for joining us. Of course, you can check us out if you live in England on Sky Satellite 265, the Poker Channel, the LA poker scene where the weather is hot and the action is scorching. Oh, looks like there's a ground ball. Oh, wow. Infield single, Dave.
Infield single to
Yep.
Gary Sheffield there, and
Yep.
it's going to be first and second.
Yep.
I'm not sure who's on second base, but he didn't bother moving. It was ground ball to third base,
Yep.
and Giambi didn't want to move there. Interestingly, people are going to be listening to this, and the game's already going to be over.
Right. We've got a raise here by seat 7. He's got ace jack of diamonds. Seat 9's going to call with ace 10 of hearts, easily dominated hand, and he is dominated.
Yeah, at least it's suited.
Right.
4 players.
Queen 8 and pocket looks like 6-5 off suit. King 9-9. No one really picks up anything here, Dave.
Well, that's what happens a lot on these flops. You know, everybody misses.
Turns a queen. Third spade. Still no one has anything.
Well,
Well,
Ryan's
Ryan's
got-
picked up a pair now. Yep. But David's going to bet now. He's got a gut shot. Red ace 10.
This is a good time for Ryan to raise here. You don't believe him. You say, okay, you know what? I'm going to take this down.
Just
But
call.
he's going to call.
Just 2 players.
Ooh, and the
And
river's,
the river's
an
an
ace.
ace.
Wow.
And Dave bets. Gets there with the ace. Ryan's going to call him down with the queen.
And it's an 0-2 count, I think, to Hideki Matsui.
The Japanese wonder, the Godzilla.
K-Rod looks in for the sign. Standing room only here. The crowd is at its feet. On its feet. Even the benches are up. Some of the Angel players can't even watch. First and second, 0-2, 2 outs. K-Rod delivers. Oh, and foul ball down the right field line.
Well, it's always my dream to be a baseball commentator.
Was it? I should let you want to take over? Hey, here at Live at the Bike, we do everything, you know? Interactive, we're fun. We make fools of ourselves.
C-Date is raised here with King Jack of
That's what we're here
clubs.
for.
And Eric's got King 9. We have it up there as King 7, but it's King 9. Rudy's picked up a gut shot on the flop. Rudy bets and Eric mucks. Looks like we get a third out there, Dave. Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't commentate on it because it was gone, but the Angels win.
Yeah.
And it's Angels White Sox.
Go home, Yankees.
And the Angels are jumping up and down, celebrating, and the Yankees are going home.
Take a blind.
Well, that's a little bit of consolation for me after the Red Sox got swept.
Yeah, and
the
one of my
White
best
Sox.
friends in the world is probably crying right now. Me being from New York. Good friend of mine, diehard Yankee fan. He bleeds pinstripes, but tonight is not.
He's
a
not
good
one of
night.
those guys who's not from New York, though, is he?
No, he's actually
Ah.
from Staten Island.
Okay. That's okay.
He's an Italian from Staten Island. And like most people from Staten Island, he's gay also.
Well, David in seat 9 has flopped the flush. And Eric's got top pair, so Eric bets.
Raise.
And look
Rudy
at
has
this.
top pair
actually,
also.
Dave's actually going to raise here with the flush. Not slow playing. And Eric gets away from it without the club in his hand. Now, I don't know about Rudy. Is he going to get away from it? Wow.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Getting word that Denny and Angie are still in our
Denny
tournament tonight.
Williams, some of you old school Live at the Bike fans. Denny Williams is still in the Stud High Low.
They play
tournament.
Stud High Low? When?
I don't know.
I mean, the only game we spread Stud High Low is 2040.
Right.
Which obviously is a pretty steep
It's
game.
probably the highest game that's spread anywhere live.
Regularly,
Yeah.
on a regular basis. Obviously, during the World Series, you can play 50-100.
Right.
at the Rio.
Did you ever get a chance to play that?
I
during
played
the
it
World Series?
regularly during the World Series.
Was it? I heard. Was it a good game?
I thought it was excellent.
Yeah.
Although supposedly I heard from a couple of reliable sources that there was some cheating going on.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
And
too.
when I heard that, I obviously got out of the game.
Yeah.
But I was up probably. I probably was up about $1,000 in the game after
Yeah.
in a couple of sessions.
Yeah, somebody told me not to stay away from the game, actually. Seat 9 is raised here in the big blind. He's got ace-queen suited. We're playing about 6 or 7-handed. So there you go, value raise. We got 4-way action. And it's a jack 4 deuce flop. And seat 3's got jack 8. He's got top pair.
That's
He's
Ryan.
gonna bet. Or actually, he calls. Ace-queen led. Ryan calls. Queen 10 calls in seat 4. And pocket 8s from
And that's the
behind
reason you
calls.
want to raise with top pair. There, you just
Yeah.
don't want to leave in there the queens.
Right, a dangling overcard, right?
Yeah. I mean, in this case, he's still okay.
Ace-queen checks. Now the button bets. The button's got pocket 8s. And
3 players.
Ryan continues just to call with jack
Yeah.
8.
Ace queen's in there still too.
River's a 7. Ryan's hand is good.
And amazingly, Ryan never actually bet his hand once.
Nope. Check call, check call, check call.
And obviously, I mean, Jack 8 is not a very good hand.
And what is Ryan? I mean, Ryan's up a ton tonight. He's the big winner, I think. Excuse me. Well, Ryan and seat 9, but seat 9 there, that's David. Wow.
I believe seat 2 also, Eric Miller is up a ton. I tell you, these 8-16 players, they love to have a lot of chips.
Yeah.
But look at that. Each stack is probably $40.
And those are double stacks, so each stack of those is 80.
Yeah. It's not bad. I mean, 160, talking 320, 480.
That's like $720. It's like
Yeah.
$800 there. It's
for this
crazy.
game. That's huge.
Yeah.
Now we're playing a short game here where you can really take advantage of the play at this game.
Pot is limped around here. Ace 4 6.
I check.
Eric bets here with a 6.
2 players.
And we get a caller.
There's a 10 there. Eric's
look at
got
this
2
two
pair
pair.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. Picked up
He
2
takes down.
pair. Yep, takes it down. Dave, this is going to actually be the last hand of the night. We want to join. Thank you for joining us tonight. Kind of a little bit of a different theme. It was more relaxed. This is not being sent to TV. We like it to keep it interactive, obviously.
Right.
Sometimes we have to lay off of a lot of the interaction between 2+2 and the emails because when we go into further editing for the television show, a lot of that stuff has to be taken out.
Yeah, it creates hell for us
Right.
in the voiceover
Right.
scene.
Still want somebody to contact us if that's watched the television show. I haven't gotten a PM or an email about
No,
that.
I haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's seen the show.
It's
and-
LA Poker Scene.
Yeah.
You
Sky
can see it on
Satellite
Sky
265.
Race. 3 players.
Got a 3-way action. King, queen, five. A lot of 3-flush flops here
Yeah.
tonight.
Misses everybody here. David's the only player with a diamond in his hands. Ryan bets on the button there with ace 8. And Eric calls with 10-7? No, I think Ryan's actually has ace 8.
Yeah, Ryan's got the AC.
And David is still in there, but we don't know what David has.
Well, looks like ace 8 is probably good here. River's a deuce
David
of
has a
diamonds.
7 of diamonds.
Oh, and it's a diamond on the river.
So he's backed into the best hands.
And he bets it. He bets with the 7 of diamonds in his hand. And Ryan mucks.
Wow, Ryan mucked it.
What about betting for value with the 7 of diamonds in your hand there?
Hey, I was surprised Ryan threw it away. I can't believe it.
Sometimes you like to just check that down and hope to win it in a showdown, Dave. But
Yeah, no, without a doubt. I mean,
Well-
amazingly, Ryan threw it away.
thank you all for joining us. And, of course, we do Live with the Bike every Monday through Friday from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific time. Tomorrow night we'll be doing probably a 3 to 500 no limit game.
Sounds good.
I want to say something like that. And
Well, you'll be here with Shirley, right?
yeah, we'll see you on Thursday, or,
Yeah,
or
maybe
possibly
Wednesday, we'll see. Right.
Possibly Wednesday too. So for everyone here in the booth and for David Tuckman, I'm Bart Hanson. Good night, everybody, from Live at the Bike.
It's here. It's big. And it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the Bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.